gonna choose me. Look at my haters, man, they wanna sue me. Chillin' the coupe in the 4-door. Live on the rack, it's a more door. I live like the king with my sword drawn. It's that money too clean, the full. I'm flying, I'm stepping this train. I'm working and all this shit, babe. I'm father on cheeks, gonna make the excursion. So I'm manage this shit like I'm getting the back from money to saving up baby. I switched to a different page. I went to the church, now they call me the savior.
Welcome to the foidcast Christmas special with Jane Cooper. We have our first female guest, extra foid special.
Thank you, it's an honour.
It's actually a long time. Quite hard to get women on.
Yeah.
We have tried before, but they're really flaky and unreliable. But I feel like you're quite odd as a woman.
Get right in there.
Go on. Like you have quite. I feel like you have quite like a masculine mind.
Well, I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, it's a compliment.
And I don't think you're flaky.
Thank you.
Or like emotional. Overly emotional.
Very emotionless.
Do you feel your masculine mind? Do you feel like you have a masculine mind?
Not really. I do think I'm quite female-brained, but some people have recently told me that I have male tastes in things. Not to be, I'm unlike the others.
Yeah.
But I like some things that are considered, quite male, but mostly in terms of literature. I've never worked on women. I'm doing a PhD in early modern literature for the context, and I do a lot of work on basically just communities of men, scholarly communities of men in 17th century.
I guess there weren't any women in those communities.
There were a few on the peripheries, and as you can imagine, a huge amount of research has been done on those women.
Sure.
But so I just do the main guys.
Yeah. I feel like you're quite like analytic as well, like the way.
Ooh. I'm not logical though. I could not do a course in formal logic. I think
because that story you did at Bergeron, it was very like it was exploring these dynamics about like faith and atheism, but in a very like philosophical like.
It's like a
debate.
dialogue.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. It was meant to be. Yeah, it was meant to be an unproductive Socratic dialogue, basically.
But I think that's quite an interesting way to think and like approach problems, and, like to be able to hold those two sides rather than like have your own view just like overwhelming all the other possibilities. But I don't know if that's how you think or just a sort of position you're adopting.
Well, I think you framed it in a generous way, but I think I am averse to, for instance, things like autofiction and the total privileging of the authorial perspective, both in literature and in criticism. I don't like approaching criticism from an autobiographical place. I don't really like stuff like Sally Rooney, which is just writing about Sally Rooney.
I hate her so much. And she sucks. She actually, but she used to do like debating at uni, and you can kind of see the debate within her books where like she's like trying to debate against criticism, against herself.
Yeah.
So like she'll literally like do it within the book.
Preempting criticism.
Yeah, she preempts it, and then she makes this.
I mean, I think that's what autofiction is about, like all the like writing from lived experience. It's like when you're writing that kind of thing, you're already thinking ahead of like what am I going to get cancelled for? Like what people are going to like not like.
It's almost like that female, like you want to be seen like you are external to yourself, and then you put that in your fiction, like you literally aren't even like a subject. You're literally just watching yourself being watched within a book.
It doesn't.
You didn't like any of her books?
I do not like any of her books.
Right.
The worst is Beautiful World, Where Are You?
Yeah, I really didn't like
appalling.
That. Yeah.
Normal People made a good TV show, I think, but at the level of style, it's really quite bad. The similes are absurd. The plot did carry Normal People to, so that it
I quite
was
liked Conversations with Friends.
I liked it because I think in Conversations with Friends, it was like she was very self-aware, and it felt like she was criticizing these like hipster, like annoying people. And then by the time you get to Normal People, it's like, oh no, she is that, and it's like she doesn't actually get the irony. And then it's.
I admire the things that I'm personally bad at. Like when I'm reading it, I'm looking for like tips, like ways to do things, and I think she does like power dynamics very well. Like she communicates the little changes in interpersonal dynamics, not like in a very subtle way, which I think is quite hard to do. Usually people do that through dialogue rather than through like setting and body language and
Though in general, I think she's not great at the showing rather than telling. paradigm.
Yeah.
I think just a lot of the prose is informing you in quite a prosaic way of what's happening.
Literally stuff like, and they spoke about the Reagan administration. It's like lines like that. Just so ridiculous.
Maybe I wouldn't like it reading it now. I think I read it when it came out.
Beautiful World is sort of epistolary, but it's emails, a bit like Zadie Smith's On Beauty, which is another terrible book. And
I
the
think Zadie
emails
Smith
are literally
generally
like,
is quite
I
bad.
was just thinking about how much privilege I have and all the terrible things that are happening. And I know that whining about it is part of the problem. Signed, like, it's just terrible.
Yeah. What's your PhD on again?
So it's basically on late 17th century royalists and the incipient theory of the sublime before Burke.
Right.
Most of it's looking at classical reception theories of imitation and of transmitting the classical sublime from Homer, Pindar, Virgil into English.
Sweet.
But a lot of each chapter has something to do with the parallel kind of explosion of natural philosophy, the inauguration of the Royal Society, the way that this new Baconian, or as it was described, Baconian form of doing science was advertised by poets as part of the whole project of attaining knowledge up to a certain point, not of God's, entire will, or not of mysteries, but as much knowledge as can be attained. And knowledge, seeking, genius, these things have a lot to do with the sublime, because these poets basically thought that to produce and indeed to register the sublime as such is to be a genius. So it's
Right.
kind of an intellectual history
Okay.
thesis, really. But it's in the
Interesting.
English faculty.
Wow. Are you enjoying it?
No. I'm just over 3 years in, which is it's crunch time for me. So
Yeah.
I'm at the moment doing anything except writing it. I will go to great lengths to avoid.
But you have some flexibility. You could take longer, right? Like,
I could. I don't really want to, because I'm tired of it.
yeah.
But at the moment, the two wolves inside me at war. One is like, finish it as soon as possible to get it done.
Yeah.
And the other is, the part of me which is very bad at delayed gratification.
Yeah. Yeah. I should say that Jane has reindeer antlers on with bells, so I think she's holding her head quite still.
I'm going to take it off so it doesn't
I
jingle.
haven't heard them that much.
Yeah.
Like, wait. Yeah, there we go.
They're not too loud.
Or some ASMR.
Yeah.
Some Christmas
should
ASMR.
we crack some crackers?
Should we do? Yes, yeah.
Christmas.
So I got these
Yes.
like fancy crackers from something called Tom Smith Company. Since 1847, they've been around.
Whoa.
So, big deal. Okay, let's go.
Woo! Wow, we all got one.
even!
one.
Nice.
Amazing. That
Let's
never
just
happens.
jump the
A
hell
little
out.
whisk.
Oh, it's like a mini.
cute.
That's the tiniest whisk ever. That's for one egg.
Well, that's actually useful.
I could put egg whites in my coffee.
We could use that for like cocktails.
Yeah.
It said they should have a hat.
Yeah,
It kind of
I've
went
got
all
a
over the
purple
flat,
one.
like
Sorry, I'm just,
everything.
like, throwing stuff.
Oh.
I don't have like a toy. Oh wait, I do. I have a nail clippers. I love it when they give you like actually useful stuff.
Yeah, that's the fanciness of it.
Yeah.
It's the fancy company.
I
I've
feel
got
like
a
they should give you
book.
all of those like face tools, like the things to get like blackheads out.
Female crackers.
Yeah.
Just do foidcast crackers.
Neurotic Foid crackers. Next Christmas we'll have our own cracker brand
to pick at your skin.
with like codeine in.
What's bad-tempered and goes with custard?
Mustard.
That's a rhyme. That did rhyme.
It's a bit bad-tempered mustard, though.
Tempered.
Yeah,
I don't
guess.
know. Grumble.
Apple grumble.
Nice.
Is apple crumble particularly Christmassy? I thought it was autumnal.
Yeah, it's more autumnal.
Yeah.
I don't think
I
anyone.
don't
eats
think they
apple
put much thought into the, jokes. Where are the hats?
Who's Santa's favorite singer?
Oh, there we go.
crumble. I don't know. Who is
Oh,
Santa's?
Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wait, what?
How did you know that?
Sounds good.
Did you make these crackers yourself?
You're showing your
But then I said the
comedian
mustard as
chops.
Yeah.
Elvis Presley. Okay, I got a hat. I don't know about you guys.
I'm not.
didn't,
I'm,
but-
my head
You
is
guys
actually
have
my head's
headbands.
too big.
And you've got little antlers as well.
Um,
there we go.
Yeah, mine going.
Yeah, that
over
looks
here.
really
I'm gonna make it
stupid.
rest on the antler.
I'm gonna take a picture for like promo purposes.
joke. Okay, wait, I've got a joke as well. Okay. Why are Christmas trees so bad at sewing?
Too many needles.
They always drop their needles.
Yeah. That's
good.
a good joke.
And then in the song The 12 Days of Christmas, how many maids were milking?
Oh, 8.
Yes?
Yeah.
Nice.
The other day I went to a Christmas dinner in Oriel College, and Oriel is the most traditionalist of the Oxford colleges, and fittingly they have a provost or a head of house who loves the customs and gets involved and isn't a Scrooge. And at this Christmas dinner, in the gallery, the college choir sang various songs, and in the middle of the dinner, everyone stood up and we all sang the 12 Days of Christmas, everyone drinking or draining their glass for every single 5 gold rings. It was great. And at the end, the provost was summoned up to the gallery and pretended to go reluctantly, but definitely didn't, and stood up there and did a shoe in front of the whole hall where you fill your shoe with whatever's left in your glass and you drink it as everyone chants. And it was exactly like what the Daily Mail thinks Oxford is, you know.
Yeah. At Warden we used to get up on the tables at the 5 gold rings, but it's chaos.
See, Wadham is cool.
Yeah.
In some ways.
No, I mean I love Wadham. I'm very loyal to my college that hates me. What do they do at All Souls?
We have lots of games, a raffle with the staff and fellows, but nothing raucous, because the really raucous stuff happens on All Souls night and on a different gaudy night in March. So
is that the duck thing?
Yeah, that's the duck song that is
What's
not allowed. It's not allowed to be uttered outside of the hall. It's a song that we sing about a duck.
I thought you did like a duck chase or something.
That's every 100 years or so. And the last one was in 2001, I think.
Right.
But there is a custom of hunting a duck around the Radcliffe Square and then capturing it. The fellows chase it. It is captured and cooked. But I think they've started using a wooden duck because of
Blairism
rights,
because of
human
woke.
rights, because of woke.
That was the beginning of woke.
That was actually the first. Yeah.
The wooden duck.
That was the vibe shift of those years.
No, but also as an exam. Yeah. I just wanted to know more about what is that? Like, how did you
How did you do it?
How did you sit down?
I also did it the same. I did it the same year as you. Yeah.
Can you remember everyone sits a specialist and a general paper in their subject, and then the general paper is for everyone. There's quite a big selection of questions you don't have to answer. You can choose 3 of about 25.
Yeah.
And the general questions are meant to test your ability to argue well under pressure about subjects that aren't necessarily in your immediate purview. Mm-hmm. So one of the ones I did, which is really good, was, well, not from me, I mean, it was a good question, was, does guilt promote creativity? It was a Martha Nussbaum quotation. And I was arguing yes. I think I talked about, defense in the court of law, but I also talked about the confessional poets and how their terrible deeds prompted them to write all of this often quite obscure and mythologically dense poetry, which ostensibly owns up to error, but actually it conceals the true nature of the nastiness while being in the confessional mode.
Do you remember what you wrote?
I think I wrote about, one half of it was about sort of the need to, if you're defending, somebody accused of a crime, to be creative in various ways. I did cite a few legal cases, but I can't remember at this point. And then I wrote about Ted Hughes.
General and English?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you did history.
I did general and history, but I hadn't revised any of the history. So it was just bad. It was a bad paper.
I mentioned Jordan Peterson at least twice across the whole.
Really?
I was astonished when they interviewed me because I thought that I dropped a dog whistle or two that they wouldn't like. But
I think it was a really fun exercise.
Just
knowing that you can write 12 essays.
In 12 hours.
Is that how many?
12 hours. Over 2 days. So 6 hours a day. I think, can a robot have a gender? That was a fun one that I answered.
This was actually the first exam I had extra time in because I'd had my ADHD diagnosis after I finished my master's. So they gave me extra time in my own room. And I had a bottle of water with the All Souls crest on it. I was like, yes. But yeah.
Did you live there now? Is it like an actual college?
Yeah, usually what's called exam fellows are residential in the college, and it's a wonderful place to live. I'm extremely grateful. I have no complaints because it's right on the high street and looking out onto the Radcliffe Square as well, so it's very central.
So nice. What's the male-female distribution like?
It's across so taking into account every category of fellowship, it's about half and half. If not, there might be slightly more women than men.
My sponsor when I became a Catholic was a previous All Souls Fellow, Catherine Backler.
Shout out Catherine. She got me to sit the exam.
Really?
Yeah, she forced me. I said I don't want to, and she said you will.
Did a tutor like tell you to do it?
Tutors, they were encouraging, although I actually didn't really bring it up to them.
Because I got an email from one of my history teachers being like, you should do it. And I was like, okay.
That's a really nice custom, is that tutors often ask you if they think, or encourage you if they think that you could get in to take the exam. It used to be a requirement. You had to be
I think it probably should, because there are probably too many people doing it now. I think there's a lot more than before.
We've narrowed the eligibility because of that.
And do you come up with the questions now that you're in?
Collectively, yeah. So I've made a few contributions.
Nice. Which ones have you written?
Mostly in English literature, a Byron quotation of Petrarch that's about, implicitly it's about reception of Renaissance Italian literature in the Romantic period. I think there was one about Margaret Cavendish, who was actually one of these women aspiring scientists that I obliquely mentioned earlier, who wrote a bunch of really terrible fake Aristotelian vitalist, anti-experimentalist philosophy.
That's very woke of you.
It was quite woke of me, I will say. But she's interesting in her own right, for sure.
Who was when you took me to dinner, and was it like Colin Burrows?
Colin Burrow, yeah.
Yeah. And he was saying about one of the questions that he'd written, and it was like, does one participant wearing a Nazi uniform change the moral character of an orgy?
That was a famous one. That was a good one.
Does
he? Yes. I think it does change the moral.
I'm just trying to find the ones that I did the Does Guilt Promote Creativity one as well.
There was a Toni Morrison about whether language can itself be violence, and I strongly argued against. And that was the most controversial one in my Viva, I think. Yeah.
But did they challenge you a lot on it?
Mm-hmm. But it was a good discussion, although I can't really remember it. The Viva is 25 minutes long, but it feels like it goes by in 2 minutes.
So they actually quiz you, actually discuss the essay with you. I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's
quite short for a Viva.
Yeah, it's very rapid fire.
How many people do they Viva?
About half a dozen every year, give or take.
Oh, that's not many.
Yeah.
Wow. Cool.
So wiggers.
Like as far as you can get from All Souls, maybe. I actually, because I discovered that song, the Four Rows SD Kid song, because of you. Because I was trying to get into rap, and your husband was like, you should listen to this Scouse rap that's really popping off right now. But I feel like I can't say that now because it looks like I've just got into it because of Timothée Chalamet. But I discovered it 2 weeks before.
You sent me a clip of it a week before, being like, "What's this beat? It sounds like Suspiria."
It's like the horror music,
the
70s horror kind of thing at the beginning. Yeah, the Timothée Chalamet thing was incredible.
It's it genuinely cheered me. Did you watch it?
I did. I haven't seen Marty Supreme, so I'm confused about the function of this musical act. Is Marty Supreme a ping pong?
Yeah, it is, but it's actually about believing in yourself and going big.
It's beautiful.
And is he a wigger?
What, Timothée Chalamet?
No,
Marty Supreme. No, it's in the 50s, so I think it's like a table
tennis. Did they not have
wiggers
wiggers in the 50s?
They couldn't have. That was illegal.
Post jazz,
I think they were really angry at when was Elvis Presley?
50s.
Yeah,
because they were really angry at him for just even having a slightly different voice, like a kind of black voice. So I think the culture wasn't there for the wiggers to thrive. I think not yet.
I think wigger is a distinctly post 1980s thing that found its apotheosis in Marky Mark. Mark Wahlberg, and the funky Club or whatever they
I don't
did.
know.
He did a
I know
hip hop
Marky Mark-
version of Good Vibrations, and he used to dress in these giant baggy jeans, where you could fit a laptop in the back pocket, as Eminem once said. And this always surprises people who only know Mark Wahlberg as this rom-com actor, that in his youth he was like a bandana wearing.
Yeah,
Really?
rapper. It was Marky
Rapper.
Mark. Yeah. Also, my husband told me about this. And then you had Eminem, who was like the best wigger to ever do it.
I feel like the rap culture is like pretty inclusive. Like when people are talking about SD Kid, they're not like, oh, this is like a white guy appropriating culture. It's like
They did do that with Eminem. Like Eminem got a lot of heat for it, but I think now it's like, and I think also the white rappers do make reference to like being white. Like they'll make jokes about it as well. But I think it's partly like because they're such a rarity. They actually do get ahead because they are like so odd, and a lot of the times they're really good.
Yeah.
So
I mean, just for, like a white guy from Liverpool, like having like Timothy Chalamet do a verse is crazy.
it's so good. Yeah.
It is fascinating that Timothy's wigger inspiration is this northern bloke from the UK rather than someone kind of, American and cool like Jack Harlow. I wonder how that connection was made.
I think Americans like are really into the North in general. Like they're very into like Manchester, and
Really,
I haven't heard like Liverpool before, but I guess
Well, also because
part
he
of the same
got
thing.
people for SD Kid was Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah.
Because he looks like him. So I
he
think
does
he
have
was
the same
like,
eyes, like the sort of negative canthal tilt.
yeah, they look alike. They do look
Yeah.
alike. So I think there was that element, and I think they get so like the accent just gets them so much. Like the Scouse accent is so.
It actually really
new.
works.
It
Though.
does, yeah.
Like
I think-
as a rap song, like he's a great.
I think the
rapper.
uglier the accent is in life, the better it works in rap.
Can I-
Not
the
Brummy, surely. Can you imagine that?
I'm just gonna
not to be
play.
rude,
I'm gonna
but-
play it. I'm gonna play the.
Hey.
Okay.
First part kind of sucks, but then he does get into it. Joking. I'm joking. Joking. Hey. Marty Supreme.
Why does he have bitches
Ryan
in
Reynolds.
Peckham?
Model bitches in Peckham. I've
Ryan
not
Reynolds
seen
and
that.
Wrexham.
I've not seen model bitches in Peckham. Maybe he brought them to Peckham.
Just seen Wales represented in a major rap song.
Rep the set. It just made me so happy. It was like, also there was a bit of like right-wing Twitter discourse being like, oh, we shouldn't like glorify white people doing black stuff.
Because it betrays a lack of confidence in their sort of ancestral folk heritage. So they're taking up the new.
Well, did you see that GB News documentary
diaspora.
about the UK where Stephen Edgington did like a drill song?
No.
Really?
Are you kidding? Is this a joke?
No. Oh my god. I'm gonna play that now as well.
I want to play I can't play it on my computer.
Yeah.
But like it's because it's like a documentary is like half hour and like half of it is Steve Edgington on drill music and being like it's very violent. The lyrics are very violent.
Oh, sorry, I thought you meant Stephen Edgington made a drill
No,
song.
he
But he
listen.
did as part of the documentary.
How is he that fun? And where do you get your money from?
So great. All right. This is where it happens. Okay.
This is cutting edge journalism.
Came from Hackney, now I'm in DC. I shot drill for GB News. You can check my CV. Now the gap's too big.
Never gaps.
Too quick. That was the timing. Do it again like that. And after many failed attempts, I attempted to record a drill track myself. It turns out, cultural immersion isn't always painless. You can check my CV. I came from Hackney, now I'm in DC. I shot drill for GB News. You can check my CV. It's just on TV. That one there was all me.
He's never going to be Louis Theroux. He's never.
Amen.
Amen.
Wow.
But yeah, he was just sat there the whole time. He was like, "Do you think this is leading kids into violence and like gang culture?" And this poor guy, like, who was interviewing, was like, "No, I'm getting them off the streets. They're doing something positive while they're in here." And then Stephen Edgington like hasn't even listened to any drill songs. Like, has just come there because he's like, oh, there's some black guys that I'm going to talk to you about like the decline of the UK. Yeah.
And they're so nice to him, and he's just not.
Yeah.
Also, his whole thing again is like language violence, because it's like he's like, oh, the lyrics are what's making things bad. It's like, I don't think a
Interesting.
drill song is the problem.
Is this the woke right?
Yeah.
But they are so annoying. Like even the Timothy Chalamet, they were like, oh, this is like a degradation of culture and like vision. And it's like, no,
It's just like unk.
it's it's chopped.
Have you seen Vunkel?
No.
Vunkel is an all-American guy in his late teens or early 20s who's gone viral because for a long time on TikTok, he would record himself, you know, singing along to UK drill. He wears the Chava outfits, you know, the very particular tracksuits. He has the haircut and just physiognomically looks like he's from Manchester or maybe Bradford or something. And everyone in the UK, or a lot of the kids in the UK, this is a very Gen Alpha phenomenon, picked up on this, really appreciated, you know, the benevolent Anglophilia coming from this American, and invited him over, and he did loads of collaborations, including with Meathead, who...
Yeah, you introduced me to Meathead earlier. What was the song? It was like...
It's called Numerous Bootings.
Yeah.
I met Bro in a coffee shop. Then we saw her up, so we locked it off.
And he did the...
Come to the spot, but don't
Welcome
bait
to
it
England
up.
one.
Yeah, he did Welcome to England.
Welcome to England. It's not fish and chips.
We got girls with big lips and big tits. Featuring Skizzy.
Right,
and they've got this charming, very Yorkshire accent, and are seemingly kind of patriotic, but from the perspective of all cops are bastards. They rhyme burkers with murk us, which is quite telling.
There's also a lot of cultural. There's one song where they talk about the guy sings like the Mandem celebrate Eid, the trap still running on Christmas Day.
Isn't that
Mandem celebrate Eid?
The really famous one?
The Mandem celebrate Eid.
I don't know.
And then he's the one who said I'm aware of how ridiculous I probably
Central
sound.
C.
Doja.
Yeah. It's Doja.
Yeah.
You've listened to Doja.
How can I be homophobic?
My bitch is gay.
I love that one.
I just think it
and
is
so true.
fascinating.
And so true. They're very into lesbians, like rappers in general, because they always talk about like getting like a dyke bitch because
the
it's
lyrics is really funny. It's like good lyrics.
It's clever.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
And they talk about like there's one guy called RD Kid, and he's like a white guy rapper. And then with it,
have you seen the state of our body? Mad. If I beat it, I ain't wearing a Johnny Adiola. I want to roll with a geezer. This was big years ago, and my friend became obsessed with it. So she played it at every single pre-drinks, which is why I know that. I don't listen to it in my private time life.
But I think in Widget, he just talks about all the different women he has, and he's like Eritrean and Ethiopian, and he's like into the Nubian goddesses as well. So it's all very inclusive, and it's all very,
there's a
cultural exchange is happening.
Vivre, like they seem to be having a great time.
Yes, yeah. There's none of this like you get it on the drill side. That's like the black guys, they tend to rap about like posh girls, like the posh girls are coming to my concert, and like their dad's racist, but
Central C dated a posh girl called Madeline Argy, who's a model, and that was a big internet phenomenon as well.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel so unedified to know all of this, but
who's that rapper? But he's actually really posh. He's like a white guy, and he's like the son of a lord or something.
Actually, it could be a few guys. Posh people love drill, love rap.
I can't remember his name. It's annoying. But yeah, I think like it's actually like quite original music coming out of the UK right now. It's like
especially.
There's a lot of energy there.
Yeah. But I feel like you still have this like weird right wing like anger towards it.
Yeah, they need to use it. They need to get with it.
Yeah, because it is the only new music happening. Like there's no like everything else is like either pop or like it's like redoing. It's like the SD Kid with like the drill like beats and like also the accent as well. It's just very like it's new. It's actually fun.
An injection of capital into post-industrial towns that very much need it as well.
Yeah,
so true. And meanwhile, you just have guys like scrubbing graffiti off the Big Galoo line, being unk and chopped.
I'm on their side though. That's
I like the graffiti on the Vickaloo line. I think it's nice.
Do you ever try and read graffiti? Can you ever make it out? It's
Yeah,
always been
sometimes it says, like,
fascinating.
crime.
Okay.
Just say
Crime.
Yeah, there's one in
Crime
Islington.
rules.
It's like a tag that just says crime.
It just
So
says
it makes me laugh.
Does it definitely not say grime?
I think it says crime.
Well, it's honest.
Yeah, I mean, get to the point.
Self-referential art. Yeah.
No, I don't know anything about tagging. It's just like an image, and you just have to sort of.
I really don't see the problem with it. Is it like broken windows theory? Like,
Yeah, I think so. I mean, on a tube. I was gonna say you don't want a child seeing graffiti.
but that's just London. Like, London's always been like grimy and like
Grimy.
I like that more than like the Elizabeth line or something where it's like really sterile and like cold and makes me feel weird.
Yeah.
The UK standing for unbelievable crime wave.
But like that's not a UK phenomenon, right? That's not a new thing. It's like I think people forget that British people are also like really scuzzy and like violent and like a bit mental. And
Especially the Welsh.
yeah.
And the Cornish.
Yeah, and like that's part of the culture and you need to be able to harness that energy. The unbelievable crime wave energy.
I do understand why people are worried about the relationship between this sort of scene and the drug trade, where there are a lot of, county lines.
Oh yeah, you're very
gangs
Hitchens on this, aren't you?
To some extent. Partly also because, to bring down the mood, but gang activity, drug-related activity, or rather I should say, when it comes to the trafficking of women and girls and so on, there is almost always an element of drug-related crime.
Yeah.
And often girls get involved in these terrible networks by being initially used as drug mules. And so I see why people are paranoid and upset. But at the same time, there can still be a commercial output of music like this that needn't provoke this kind of cantankerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Peter
obviously it
Hitchens'
is coming
response.
out of that world. Like, you can't really divorce it.
You can't.
Even in the documentary with Steve Edgington thing, he was going through the like rappers on the wall, and he was like, "Oh, where's this guy?" And he's like, "Oh, he's in prison."
Yeah.
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 So they are like linked. I think usually drill rappers are, because they're less in the world because they're doing something else, but they're like, it's cool to be associated with it. So you have to sort of keep your like credentials, your street cred. But they're usually a bit softer because they're like poets. So
That's how I view Meathead. He went viral because he was recorded rapping that song "Numerous Bootings" in a school playground in his uniform, looking really young,
Really?
surrounded by teenage boys who, as many teenage boys do, look about 3 years younger than they are. And it was on this really grainy phone camera, and because of that, he got signed to some kind of record company, and has since then been producing music about how much he loves Yorkshire, which is quite
How old
nice.
is he?
He can't be older than 18 or 19.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Is he in crime?
I don't think he's in
Does
crime.
he do road?
does he dabble? Does he dabble
I'm not
in
sure
some
he's
crime?
in crime.
Wait, did you see the Unheard article this week on the Roadman?
No.
It's called like "Consider the Roadman."
Unheard.
Can I just read a bit of it?
Please.
Yeah.
It says, "The function of roadmanism, as Mark Fisher once wrote of hip hop,
Sorry.
is to operate as an anti-mythical myth. The how do you pronounce that word?
Weltanschauung,
Okay,
the
thank you.
worldview.
Of the roadman has no room for sentimental idealism. It reveals life what it supposedly really is, a social Darwinist struggle where only the fittest survive. Why was Henry Hill so enthralled by the gangster life in Goodfellas? It wasn't just the money and flashy goods, it was a sense of freedom and excitement, of no longer being a non-player character in a deadbeat job.
Who wrote
True.
this? It's beautiful.
True.
And so the roadman vibes have transcended their working-class black origins to become cosmopolitanism of the lumpen proletariat."
It's true.
That could be taken as an indictment or as praise.
I think it's a new writer. I haven't heard of him before. I mean, he's called Ralph Leonard. It's just quite funny being in Unheard.
It's true.
Explaining to like the cosmopolitan anti-woke elite
But
what a roadman is.
it is exhausting. Like I think that's why rap is so like exciting to, because like JME like raps about like how all his like fans are like middle class white kids. Like it is like a very exciting thing if you're not in that world, because it's just like a complete like it's like a picture painted like of something that you'll never ever do.
It's a taste of transgression to go along to those shows. Which I used to find frustrating about the posh undergrads when I was at New College.
Sure, yeah.
That was a very posh but grunge and drill obsessed time. It was 2017-18.
Warden was really bad for it.
Yeah. And I did find it a bit insufferable, mostly because I was insecure about not having heard of Fred again and that kind of thing.
That's what I was thinking of, who's an aristocrat. Fred again.
He had the undergrads in a chokehold.
That makes sense, because that's who they are.
And it was it became a bit of a meme, actually. Sorry to keep talking about Oxford, for the Eton boys, the Aldertonians, to reliably be the most shabbily dressed, and it was in order to basically not be accused of being an Aldertonian, which is quite sad.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, because I was very conscious of not wearing stuff like that, because I'd come from like a working class background, and like I wouldn't wear stuff like that because it would make me feel like really self-conscious, and then seeing everyone else do it when they were from like Surrey and they were like, oh, I'm from South London,
eyebrow slit,
yeah.
It was weird for me because like in where I grew up, like in Eastern Europe, we had the trackies, like everyone wore the trackies, and then suddenly it was like at uni that was like the high class thing, like the cool thing to do, and I was like, my brothers wore this, like it's cringe, it's awful. But I've always like really related to rap music, partly because it was like when I was growing up and it was like loads of the music
you're
is
a
about,
wigger.
I'm a wig, I'm
You're
a
a
like full on
wigette.
wig, I'm a wig.
A wigger.
I'm a wig.
A
I'm a girl. Girl. But it's like the music. But it's like because the music is also very like there's like so much bravado in it, and there's so much like I think the violence that you can't really like. I grew up like very poor, and I felt like I was being like judged for like many different things when I was like growing up, and all the music I was listening to was like, yeah, you fuckers, you judged me, and now I'm on the come up, and and I feel like really, I listened before my Oxford interview, I was listening to Jay-Z like in my room, being like, I'm gonna make it. I did not make it. That was the problem.
They heard you listening to Jay-Z.
It is noticeable how the angry young man persona of Eminem, which completely defined his music as an outsider within the rap community, but also as someone from deprivation, that whole sort of mood has disappeared in, I think, white hip hop. You don't get a lot of it anymore. You get, I think, less emotionally vulnerable music most of the time. But yeah, Eminem was exceptionally angry and melancholic, and he was a bit like one of these. I read a lot of satirists from the early modern period, all of whom put on a guise of the malcontent, which became a sort of stock theatrical character. Someone who is well placed to critique others because they've suffered and they're an outcast, and they presumably don't care about other people's opinions of them, even though they clearly do. And that Eminem was this 20th century malcontent, but I don't see, Timmy Tim doing that.
Well, and because Eminem also changed, I think like you do see a lot of soft boy rappers and like emo rappers. You had like Lil Peep and you had XXXTentacion and stuff like that. There was just like emo.
That was the sort of Xanax, but that was less about being angry and motivated by anger, and more about like wallowing in your, depressant-induced,
you're lean,
melancholia.
Central C is a bit sad boy.
Yeah, there is a lot of. I mean, even Drake, you could argue like he came up from, because I think the thing with Eminem, like the way he changed his style was like he was doing the bravado that the other rappers were doing, and then in 8 Mile, have you seen 8 Mile?
Yeah.
Where he like changes it up and he like preempts everything, and he's like, yeah, I suck. I come from trailer, like I'm a trailer trash. Like he gets like everything that he could get insulted for, he does it himself, and then he kind of wins because of that. And it's like by being so vulnerable. And I don't know how much like
and like Fake Mink as well. But
Yeah,
Like,
as Dika's friend. Yeah.
that I think there's a lot of like emotional honesty in
Yeah.
it. Like, I think maybe that's their outlet. Like how Finnish people like go to a sauna and then get really like deep. I feel like you can do that in rap, but you couldn't do it just like with your bros.
This was why Justin Bieber became a wigger briefly, because famously his purpose in life was, or his outlet was, graffiti tagging.
Was it?
Yeah. This I'm too online, but there's a meme from about 10 years ago when Justin Bieber would wear these very low slung pants and a snapback and draw these ridiculous monkeys or paint them, graffiti spray them, and consider them to be some kind of profound statement about his alienation and
Oh,
experience as someone ultra famous.
I did
And
not know that.
yeah,
Where was he doing that? In his house, on his estate?
just anywhere on the Bakerloo line. So he certainly. I do you remember his wigger phase? Bieber
I thought he was still in
definitely
his
had
wigger
one.
phase.
I think he's. I actually haven't seen much of him recently, so I
He's
couldn't
in
say.
his drug addict phase, I think. He's in
Yeah,
his dad phase.
being a bit
I think.
erratic. But he's
Yeah.
still got the wigger fit. Like,
He's wigged out, yeah.
Yeah.
I think he kept that. Because I think also because he was such a
Wigged
sweet
up.
teenage boy
Yeah.
that he wanted to like go against it. I think it's kind of similar with Timothée Chalamet. I think he like wanted to go against the sort of... Because
I
he did
feel
that
like
gay
it's just because
movie.
he's dating Kylie and he feels like threatened.
No, I think because you saw when he was a teenager, he did like a rap thing. Have you seen him? There's like a video of him in his like big hoodie.
Nicki Minaj. Yeah.
But there's also like a lot of like rappers that are gay. Like there's quite a lot of, and more in America. Like Tyler the Creator
Right.
is who else? Frank Ocean, but he was more like I guess R&B. But there was this
Yeah.
thing where
Lil Nas X.
yeah, Lil Nas X, yeah. Sorry, I hope that wasn't loud. But there was like you know, who was that woman who was on Orange Is the New Black? There was a trans woman, like a black woman, and there was like
Laverne Cox.
yeah,
Yeah.
and there was a video of her going around. People were like, oh, is there a thing with gay guys in the rap community? And she was like, honey, like they're all gay, which kind of again makes sense because they're like emotionally more in
Isn't
tune.
that just because of all the like sexual abuse, like Kanye with the cousins and stuff?
I don't know if his cousin abused.
They were all groomed by P. Diddy.
But he did- yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of like.
I think it's just because it's a very hypersexual culture, though. So perhaps it's that a lot of these men are basically indiscriminate. They have access to anyone at any time sexually, and they perhaps also are so debauched that just being with women no longer excites them.
That's why they like loads of rap songs talk about like getting like a lesbian, or usually it's like to get someone else's bitch, like as, to get someone else's guy. But loads of stuff on lesbian stuff, and I didn't get it for a while.
Like
and then
Drake is Drake.
Yeah. Drake, like oh my god, like so many like future like. It's like an ambient thing for like most rappers. Like they'll have a line about getting a lesbian girl, and I realize it's like because they technically can't get her, like because you can get every woman you want.
Sure.
So then it becomes like a challenge to get.
Yeah.
So maybe the man is the ultimate challenge.
It's very Rochesterian. It's the Earl of Rochester, who was the premier pornographic poet in the 17th century, who was also debauched from a young age, probably groomed / just initiated into quite a homoerotic Oxford Wadham culture.
Sodom
and then
represent.
his poetry just became increasingly bisexual because swiving, as he said, that was the verb for
What's
to
swiving?
fuck,
Like
to swive.
like buggery.
Well, swiving I think is not buggery. I think it can just mean to have sex.
Oh, okay.
But he did progress from just using female whores to using rent boys. And
Damn, I didn't know the Wadham thing went back that far.
Oh, it goes back really far. It's partly because it was known in the mid 17th century for being the let's say birthplace of it was called the Philosophical Club, and the then warden of the college ran it, and it was a place for people to basically ventriloquize really heterodox atheistic viewpoints and be refuted.
Is that because it was like a Puritan foundation?
Partly also just that, Oxford itself, though it was a culture of disputations in Latin, it was fairly Socratic. There was still a lot of suspicion, particularly, let's say, from the church about heterodox ideas attracting young men. like Lucretius and Epicureanism and so on. But in Wadham, there was this club that was pretty secretive that allowed you to talk about all of that, Lucretius,
Wow.
the nature of God, whether or not he's benevolent. And anyway, Rochester was introduced to that as a young boy and then became the like paradigmatic libertine Epicurean who, because he was so used to getting whatever he wanted in the court of Charles II, he had to be gay.
Yeah.
To go back to your point.
It's also, I think it's high testosterone, sorry.
No, you go.
Like, I think of it as like, you know that thing of like when bodybuilders start taking testosterone, loads of them go both gay and also into fat women as well.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a weird hypersexual. It's like loads of them turn gay on the bodybuilding forums. You see it. Bronze Age, you know.
I knew the gay thing. I didn't know the fat thing.
There's like loads of videos of like bodybuilders with their girlfriends, and the girlfriend's like, and they're like lifting her up because there's something about
the buttock fixation in particular.
Maybe.
So ass man over tit man, because there's a lot of discourse around this.
True.
Oh yeah, that would make sense.
So this is so vulgar.
No, I think like it's the same thing with the Epstein thing, where you know people get to a certain level of wealth and they can have like anything they want, and so the most fun they can think of is
the last taboo,
getting things that they can only acquire through these like weird networks because they're like incredibly illegal. And I don't even think they're naturally pedophiles. I think it's just like most of them. I'm sure there are some actual pedophiles, but I think for a lot of them it's just acquisition of, you know, the one thing you can't buy.
The forbidden fruit.
Yeah. Although they are buying them in that case.
And it definitely, Epstein is a good example of how true Epicureanism has never really been tried, because Epicurus said, importantly, you have to know the limits of three things. The limit of one's own life, i.e. mortality, the limitations of the gods and their intervention in the world, and the limits of pleasure, most importantly. And so while he said in the end, freedom from pain is the end of life, if you become addicted to pleasure seeking and you become impossible to satisfy because you don't, gratification is all you live for and you're extremely hedonistic, then this is like the worst thing you can do. So some people would think, Epstein, that like Epicurean rogue, but actually he's not. He's something. He's a monster. Destroyed himself.
Yeah, I was like actually quite shook by the release of the recent files, because also his birthday book, because I think the really disturbing bit is just how many people knew about it, and it was like that's the main joke that everyone makes in the birthday book is like, oh yeah, this guy's a pedophile. Haha, this guy like fucks like little girls. That's like the one thing we know about him. And just thinking about like the dynamics of it and how easy it is to fall into that just because people are looking for like fun and social clout, and they meet someone who is willing to go to any lengths to facilitate like a fun night. And then all the sort of moral qualms just disappear because everyone else is validating it, and you don't want to stick out and make yourself a problem. And like I've seen that dynamic in these sort of social scenes around like powerful people, and it just seems like it would happen so easily, and it would be this open secret that nobody actually addresses for decades.
Also, most of them did they actually think it was like I thought the kind of the point of it was that he got underage girls, but they didn't really seem underage. Like a lot of them seemed like they were fully developed, and then that I kind of got them.
And there are photos in this one where they're definitely.
I haven't seen the files actually. Is something
there are. So I certainly thought before the release of the files that Epstein was your prototypical ephebophile. He liked girls whom he knew were under 18, but who were sexually developed and precocious, which is very different from pedophiles who, in order to satisfy the paraphilia, actually need somebody who is not yet sexually developed. Which, I mean, both are terrible, and unfortunately, ephebophilia can be gotten away with very easily. But there are kids, there are children.
There are photos
in
of
these pictures.
of very young kids,
and he didn't have children.
He's carrying on his shoulders. There's another one where there's a child in the background, and also like the drawings in the birthday book. There are lots of like children's style drawings, and jokes about there being children, like specifically children. So
When I
yeah.
met you, you were a little girl.
Yeah, I mean,
this
I think
kind
that
of
one was Nadia, I think, who was 15 when she was introduced. She was like trafficked into it, but there are like hints of much younger girls as well. But you know, like Megyn Kelly was saying, oh, like ephebophilia is different to pedophilia, and like all of these people, and this is only like 1% of the files as well. Like they haven't released
Really?
most of
What?
them.
Why did they take so many photos on digital
I
cameras? Like,
know.
they must have been photographing themselves constantly.
Well, because there's the theory that, because he's like,
Yeah, I mean, it's
he was a
obviously
blackmailer
blackmail
Yeah,
material.
keeping- that's
yeah.
right.
So
Eric
that's why.
Weinstein did a good interview about meeting Epstein, in which he said, okay, Epstein was known to me as somebody who was really interested in cutting edge science and tech and wanted to collect celebrity thinkers like Steven Pinker. But when Weinstein went into his dining room or something, he noticed that there was a camera hidden in an object on the table that follows you.
Yeah.
And that the camera was pointing at Weinstein, and on the other end of the table there sat Epstein, let's say, jogging a girl on his lap up and down so that her breasts moved, basically trying to get a reaction from him.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, clearly, I guess he recorded these things for the
It's
sake of
definitely like it's blackmail material. It's,
information.
I think there's no
Yes.
doubt about it.
He was an agent for a
Yeah.
certain agency.
Who do you think he was an agent for?
I mean, the former Israeli PM is in loads of the photos. They were
Yeah.
close. So.
And his links, like, he's like, like his, like Ghislaine Maxwell's also, like, her dad was, and she was like related to it
I
as
do
well.
think that's probably true. I don't think that's too conspiracy brained, because I think like it's that's just the most obvious way to collect blackmail material and collect dirt on people to manipulate them, and that does happen in politics. Like,
Yeah.
it would be stupid to dismiss that possibility.
You said they have in Britain, like in Oxford, like they have.
I don't know about Oxford, but I've heard
yeah.
stuff like around Parliament about getting stuff on new MPs, like inviting them to certain parties where they can be photographed in like compromise situations. And
Really?
yeah,
I guess that in theory that isn't surprising, but I'm so naive about this stuff that it shocks me to hear.
It's like sort of more senior MPs who apparently do it when they get a new MP, which makes sense because they want to collect someone who will vote like and lobby in the right ways. And, yeah.
Yeah. I guess it's weird that I would imagine if it was like an open secret, why would have people still gone there, right? Like the thing you said, like it's just like it's fun.
It's
It's
fun
like, 'cause
and
it's
cool.
fun. 'Cause it's, yeah.
And like, if you like, if there's someone who's like a fun, cool guy who's like got loads of money and is making things happen, people don't really care what he's done, or like it just becomes a joke, and then you don't want to ruin the joke. I don't know, I tweeted about this earlier about like just the sort of moral attrition that you get being around people like that and not saying anything and not acting. And I think it's very hard to be moral like in the moment. Like it's easy on reflection and be like, oh, I shouldn't have been in that room. I shouldn't have talked to that guy. I shouldn't have laughed at that joke. But when you're actually in it, like you've got to make a moral judgment in like a split second. That's very hard to do. Not many people actually do that. They don't want to like harsh the vibe.
Yeah, I mean, people in pleasant social settings basically want to be agreeable.
Yeah.
No one wants to be the first person to make a fuss.
Yeah.
That's a normal trait. You know, I don't think it's pathological not to be fairly conformist.
Especially if you've been brought to something that's like kind of exclusive and you feel like you're being
Given the
like
things.
interviewed basically, and like you know, if you do something wrong and then you're not going to be invited back.
Also, I think for a lot of these thinkers, whether it's Noam Chomsky or Steven Pinker, presumably they wanted to, increase the, or to advertise their particular work, their particular scientific interventions or whatever. And here was a man who had the means, basically, to disseminate your stuff, to put you out into the world, to connect you with governments. So they probably all were rationally motivated to say yes to an initial invitation. What I think is the more interesting question with Epstein is how do we it's worth sifting between those who were photographed with him because they met him once at a big gala versus those like Peter Mandelson who had a years and years long friendship.
Yeah. And Kevin Spacey's in loads of them as well.
That doesn't hugely
No,
surprised.
I was thinking about that lecture in Oxford where Douglas Murray brought him out and everyone gave him a standing ovation. And I stood up and I was like, I don't know what to do because everyone else stood up.
Oh, you were there?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I didn't know anything about the case. Like I hadn't looked into the case. I'd seen it in the news, but I didn't know whether he'd like done it or not, or if the acquittal was like legit. I think he said since that he actually did like grope some men on like a Piers Morgan interview, and I think it's like it was known for a long time that that was the kind of guy, that was what he did. Like I know people have worked with him who've said that. But everyone stood up and I just stood up and I didn't want to stay sitting down when the whole audience was standing up. I didn't want to be woke. I was just thinking about that, and that is like moral cowardice, and that's how this stuff happens.
But it's also like if you stay sat down, I mean, what good? I guess it's like kind of the argument for like being a vegan or whatever.
I think it does something
it's,
to you.
it's a
though.
personal thing, right? Like
I think it does erode your own like moral fiber.
yeah,
And your self-respect.
yeah.
Yeah. Because you want to think of yourself as someone who will like act morally, and I think it's quite rare. There were like a few people who stayed sitting down, but yeah. But obviously that's the environment as well, and it's like everyone's anti-work and anti-Me Too, and yeah.
I think one would have been justified in applauding because the soliloquy was well delivered. He is an amazing actor.
Was it Coriolanus?
It was Timon of Athens,
right? Yeah.
Which is all about somebody who's generous to his friends and ascends in the social hierarchy and then is basically cancelled all at once, which itself is an indictment of mob mentality and conformism.
Yeah.
But I've always thought, perhaps selfishly, I don't really want to bother myself with the particularities of the Kevin Spacey case or the drama because I just enjoy his acting a lot.
Yeah.
And I will always rewatch House of Cards, for instance,
Yeah.
It's also crazy how like it changes when Michael Jackson died. Did we talk about this on the last podcast?
Yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah, but like he died, and like before he died, everyone knew he was.
He's in the Epstein
pedophile.
photos as well.
Is it? Yeah,
Of course.
But it's
Fork
like
found in kitchen. Yeah.
He built the like theme park on the island, but it's like everyone knew, and then suddenly because he died, it was like that. All of that just completely like got ignored, and then it was like you couldn't even mention it for ages, for years, because he was like, oh, but he died, and he did such great music.
I love. Okay, I have a funny anecdote. It's not that funny, but the day he died, I was in year 5 at school, primary school, and my class teacher at the time, a lovely woman, had been a huge fan. And she was so distressed that she called off our classes and instead had us sit in a big circle in which she sat in the middle and wept and then encouraged us all to be nice to one another for the foreseeable future.
For once.
And I remember that early that day, my ardently Catholic mother, who at the best of times is skeptical of a lot of pop culture, told me, he was a very troubled man who did bad things, who she was not explicit, but she said that he'd had inappropriate relations with very young boys and that he had surgically enhanced himself because he's some kind of transhumanist. I don't think she used that word, but I remember I just looked at my teacher, and at the time I was extremely disagreeable child. I was a zealot in many ways, Catholic zealot. I actually loved pissing people off, and I just remember as she wept in the middle of this big circle saying, Miss Kumis, Michael Jackson, he had boys sleep in his bed, boys about the age of my classmates. And she took me aside in private and basically said, you mustn't believe these rumors. People hate Michael Jackson because he's he's a Christ-like figure. She actually called him a Christ-like figure.
No way.
And I think she had some kind of
mental illness.
No. She was very good otherwise, but she had this fixation on Michael Jackson, which many had, which saw him as a messiah of sorts. And I just don't know why. Like, he was a great performer, but why a messiah? I don't know.
He got very weird, like, after he did his surgeries and stuff, he got very, like, there was, like, a weird video about it on YouTube about how he was, like, a transhumanist because he was, like, agender. Yeah. He was kind of aracial, right? Yeah. And all of his stuff, like, in the later years, like, his songs were about, like, one world, unite, and, like, we're going to have this sort of like post-racial, post-prejudice
Yeah.
world. And he did, I think there was one where he did a performance and he did the Christ.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
did like
I think
a,
it's part of the act.
yeah.
Also, his daughter's white and she's got blue eyes. She just looks like white.
Yeah, perhaps
So-
not his daughter.
Maybe it's like inherited characteristics, that get passed on.
Maybe he willed it so much for her to be white.
Epigenetic.
'cause he wanted to-
Yeah.
he wanted to
Epigenetics
be
in
white.
action.
Epigenetic trauma of whiteness.
Wow, Lamarck proven correct once again.
Yeah, so you were raised Catholic,
Mm.
in like a big Catholic family, right?
Yeah.
But now you're lapsed.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to talk about publicly,
Yeah.
but yeah,
You go to Anglo-Catholic churches, right?
I switch up my churches. I haven't been attending recently any church.
Yeah, I haven't
yeah.
been this year either, which is really odd for me because since I was baptized, I would go every Sunday and like also midweek. So that was like 9 years ago. So
Okay.
this is the first time that I've actually missed. I missed Mass today.
I missed Mass today. I missed it a few.
I didn't even know it was Sunday today, so yeah, I missed Mass today as well. When were you baptized Catholic?
I was baptized Anglican,
Anglican.
when I was 21 on my 21st birthday, and then I became Catholic 3 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
But like when I was an Anglican, I was there's no obligation, but I did go every week. And yeah, I remember you talking about that sadness around having this very complete intuitive faith as a child and not being able to recapture that as an adult.
I think the reason I've always found the experience of converts very difficult to understand is that, my experience of faith was of like absolute certainty, just utter certainty. I was as sure of an involved, benevolent God characterized by the fathers and the doctors of the church as I was that the sun would rise every morning, and I would speak to him in my room. I would simulate his replies, but convince myself that those imagined replies were really his replies, And
You don't think that they were real at all?
No. No. I think looking at that, I can see that was my own psychology at play.
When did you change your view on that?
It's been gradual, but certainly in adolescence, I had your typical adolescent crisis of faith, looking at the historical and political and social incentives that, for instance, aided the development of pieces of doctrine, read some new atheists, and then found that I doubted. More recently, I've had a sort of second wave of doubt, which is something I never doubted before, which is the goodness of the whole thing. That for a long time I said this is a pious fiction, but one that is worthy. So I would go to church and try my best to make myself believe again. And then I started to think a little more deeply about the Bible, because actually growing up this Catholic, I was exposed to a lot of Thomas Aquinas.
Right.
I didn't really read much of scripture.
Yeah.
And I saw
Same
that
with
this
Danny,
was a
she
sort
hasn't
of...
read the Bible.
She like Rose was like, you need to read the Bible, but I'm scared because I tried to do it when I first converted, and I went from like Old Testament, and then how it's like really boring at the start.
Yeah.
But whenever like sometimes you read a bit and it kind of irks you, and I'm a bit scared to read it to be like to basically get doubt in the scripture to be like, if I read something that I really don't like, I don't know,
full of objectionable things. Like, I mean, St. Paul believed that they were living in the end times, and to me, it's not meaningful that the end times were 2,000 years ago. I don't think that's right.
I think that about a lot.
But
like
there's a theological framework for that in terms of like inaugurated eschatology.
Yes.
I think.
So I find the eschatology of the New Testament alarmingly apocalyptic. I really instinctively hate millenarianism and utopianism in all its forms. I am of the world. I want to be of the world. I want civilization to prevail. And I do find it difficult at times to reconcile bits of scripture with that civilization building impulse. I find the blatant polytheism of the Old Testament alarming. I find the kind of the mental gymnastics being done by a lot of the greatest fathers, whom I still read and love in a way, to be only disillusioning rather than comforting. And I used to think, well, a complex theology is great. We have the most sophisticated theology in the world, like compare it with Islam.
Yeah.
It's good to decide through means of conciliar, deliberation, what is a mystery and what isn't. But for how long can you justify all this with recourse to something as vague as inspiration? Like how all the hands that were involved in the production of this Bible, which is not one book, all of the distinct parties involved in the councils and in the papacy over the years, this is a paradoxical religion to me that is of the world, while its leader, it's God incarnate, it basically explicitly said to exit the world in some way in order to follow him.
Yeah.
But this is all stuff we've all heard before, and I don't relish doing this. Like, it's really hard. I love religion. I love Christianity. I find it very difficult around the holidays and Easter, where I watch Ben-Hur and cry my eyes out, knowing how it feels to have lost your faith. So
sorry to bring you here for the Christmas special.
But yeah, I'll shut up for a bit.
No, I'm interested in what you mean about it being not necessarily good, because obviously a lot of people on the right especially make this argument for cultural Christianity, and they're not themselves believers, but they think that Christianity has created civilization and it gives us a set of moral values, and I sort of disagree with that approach, but I think I would say that in general its contribution is positive, and that a world without Christianity would be I think much worse.
Yeah.
So
okay, I still think that a world without Christianity, without ever having had it, would probably be worse. Who knows? Maybe there would have been an eternal Roman, empire on a global scale that allowed the arts to flourish as they did. But yeah, I absolutely love churches. I do love the history of the church, all of the fascinating intellection that went on to reconcile slowly and but steadily new scientific learning and new philosophical ideas with a Christian theology. I think what I mean by "is it not good" is that in the contemporary moment, Christianity it doesn't strike me as being necessarily civilizational anymore. It's a bit like a kind of hippie cult, for the most part in the West. Now, this is not true the world over, and I will defend Middle Eastern persecuted Christians till the day I die. But I don't encounter much in terms of modern Christianity that I think is making a clear-sighted contribution either to ideas or to public life.
So by this do you mean the sort of post-liberal woo?
Partly. I think a lot of post-liberalism, especially Catholic integralism, is utopian and it's fatuous. Yeah. I also think that, frankly, a lot of the there's this funny tension at the moment. Okay, so on the one hand, a lot of liberals deny that their moral intuitions come from Christianity, and they're wrong in that. And that's what post-liberalism seeks to correct. But on the other hand, a lot of the times they will throw Christianity in your face, often quite successfully, to say, you need to be nicer. You need to abolish borders. You need to abolish the superstitious adherence to custom. You need to see everyone as inherently somehow equal. I'm not saying I'm, a crazed person about equality, but I think that Christianity is very easily manipulated to suit the present moment.
Sure, and I think that's true of anything of import. I think the more true something is, the more open it is to corruption and manipulation. But I think there are a lot of current stances which come from a Christian place which are very anti-liberal, like around euthanasia and this pro-life stuff. It really the only front against that sort of liberal instrumentalization of all life is a Christian impulse.
So do you think there's no
think
case against euthanasia without Christianity?
I think it's very hard to make one. And I think without Christianity, we would be in a sort of Aztec human sacrifice situation, which is what all human societies have been.
Even like
without having a religion that can make the case for weakness.
I think even for like marriage, like even not Christian, like actually Catholic marriage of being like one woman, one man for life. Like even the divorce stuff, like if people, divorce is such a horrible thing that is just so normalized now. And it's only Catholicism that actually goes against it.
And even that's waning. I mean, there is effectively divorce now in the Catholic Church, and it's by way of annulment. And I have so many deep-seated Christian convictions about marriage, about raising children. You know, I want to raise my children in a sacramental faith. Like, I want to get my faith back. I people find me confusing about this because I literally say one thing one day and another thing another day.
I don't think it's confusing. I feel similarly. I think because I didn't have like a childhood faith, but I think when I came to faith, I approached it very naively, and it wasn't like I reasoned my way to it. I wasn't convinced by apologetics. I was convinced by a very physical experience of grace, and that was my certainty for a very long time. It was very deep. It couldn't be shaken by any sort of argument. It was like I've experienced that grace, and it's like changed my whole life. So it's strange to for that experience not to hold so much weight anymore, because it had always been in a separate category to sort of rational intellect, to reasoning, and now it sort of becomes subject to that rationalization.
Well, because it's also because I had the similar thing where I had a religious experience, but I remember even when it happened, I was like, I need to hold on to this feeling. I need to like get into a Catholic community because, you know, things wane. Like, you know, like you'll have an epiphany about your life and you'll get your life together and you'll sort of sort yourself out for a bit. But then years down the line, especially even with a religious experience, like even now it's like difficult to be like, you know, 3 years ago, whenever it happened, it was like, was that the rational mind kind of comes back in where like, was it a psychosis? You know, was it something that was like a psychological thing that happened? Was it, and you sort of just don't give credence to things that just happened way back in the past as well. Like, I think that's the problem of it.
And I think it was something I needed for that period of my life, and I needed to fully believe it. And it makes total sense that I would believe it, which now makes me believe it less.
That's right. You sort of notice the motivations that underpin belief, being themselves being entirely psychological and perhaps therefore entirely physicalist. And it's funny, I've had the completely opposite experience. For me, Christianity was nothing without apologetics. It had to be rational,
right?
So rational as to be obvious. And I always felt strange about appeals to hyper personal individual experience. I think partly because the only time I ever thought I had a religious experience, I realized after a few minutes that it was a trick of the light.
Right.
It happened in the church.
With mine, I checked that it was a trick of the light for like 40 minutes, and it wasn't.
Yeah. And I when I noticed that mine had been, you know, I'd seen some strange light hovering above the tabernacle right at the moment of consecration. I was quite young. I thought, why is no one seeing this? No one's falling down on their knees. I noticed that there had been there's a tiny window partially obscured at the back that had let in a bit of light in a rather unusual manner.
Right.
And from then, I remember that still, it was totally transforming. It was transformative to realize that error had led me to think for a brief moment I was receiving a vision of God, and therefore how many other errors of a similar nature have convinced people over the years.
Yeah.
But this is, again, I don't enjoy saying this stuff because half the time I participate socially in Catholicism. You know, I read the Catholic Herald. I'll like praise my friends for writing in it.
Yeah, I met you through like Pusey House and Oxford, like Catholic, Anglo-Catholic scene.
But you have on the other side, you have, if you sort of don't go the Christian route, you have the like, you know, sorry, my fridge is really messed up. But you have like the Nietzscheans, and you have a sort of, you know, they're like really anti-Christianity. They think it's like, you know, the slave morality and like all that stuff. And I think they do have points in terms of, you know, maybe there are people who are stronger than others. There are people who deserve to live in certain societies more than others. But
the Sermon on the Mount was recently explained to me as constituting a total prescription of resisting injustice. So I was told by a believer, you have to submit to evil, otherwise you're taking Christ as being euphemistic or as lying. But he literally does say things that amount to that. And I just said, well, in that case, like, if this is true, big if true, I will go wherever I'm sent as a sinner, and I will go there gladly in the knowledge that I didn't live as someone who wanted to submit to evil. If that's what my apocalyptic cult leader wanted me to do, and I didn't do it, fine, I'll be punished. And Christians never know what to say to that, because it's not normal for someone to say that they're tranquil with the idea of going to hell. But I really think I am. I think if I'm wrong in all of this, I was spoon-fed the religion, I rejected it, then it's only right that I'm punished. So I'm kind of okay with that. Like, whatever, God is just if he is indeed the Christian God. So that is comforting anyway.
I mean, I feel like the Nietzschean critique is like broadly correct, and I think I do agree with that reading of the Sermon on the Mount. But isn't it? I feel like the society you would get without that overturning of strength is a lot darker.
Yeah, but I completely sympathize with that view. Yeah,
like when I went to Mexico and I saw like the temples like dedicated to mass like industrial human sacrifice, like that is what people are capable of a ritualization of like mass death, and they had a whole cosmology around that, and I think, I don't know, I feel like it's easy to underestimate the possibility of something like that in the modern era, and people don't really understand just how bad that could be, because we still have Christian assumptions baked into our society, like the idea of the welfare state, of pensions, like of
hospitals, like
adoption.
adoption.
I mean, that literally comes from a Christian like foundation, comes from monastic life, but like without that, things would be really, really dark. I think.
It's like the end of Apocalypto by Mel Gibson. You see these amazing, is it Dominicans that are coming over on the boat to free these...
I haven't seen Apocalypto.
It's so good.
It's
that last scene.
I have spoiled it for you.
Yeah,
but it's about like the conquest of large swathes of South America, where these old Mayan practices of sacrifice were still ongoing even into the 16th century. You don't know for a long time in the film when this is set, and then you realize, oh, this is in the 16th century at the end. But of course, I'm glad that those civilizations were wiped out by the Christians. Wiped out might be a polemical way of putting it, but the problem is you will have Christians tell you that to do such a thing as to defeat a wicked child sacrificing civilization is unchristian, and that's what frustrates me.
But I don't think that's true.
I hope that's not true.
I mean, I think this was one of the things I was trying to work out with martyrdom, because when I came to faith, one of the hardest things for me to reconcile, having been like a communist, was the idea of revolutionary violence and resistance to oppression, and then martyrdom as this central facet of Christian life. It's like that is the base of sanctity, like all types of sanctity. It does mean lying down and accepting oppression or accepting violence against yourself. But I think, first of all, you can't generalize from that. You can't generalize from the act of the martyr in a specific situation where they are asked to lay down their lives for their faith, specifically for their faith. It's not just randomly for anything. That's quite a specific instance, which doesn't really apply to all types of resistance to evil. And I think, like, obviously Christians are called to resist evil, and especially in the Catholic Church, where you have a political theology where like religion is very political, like that's quite explicit.
It has been certainly for centuries, and that's why I love the history of the Catholic Church. It is political, it's of the world.
And that's part of the problem as well, right? Because that's what makes Christians fight for like this quite toxic kind of equality, and makes them downplay like the idea of belonging, of nationality, because they think that they have a religious duty to pursue the equality of all people.
Well, even family.
But I don't think you can hold both those ideas. You can't say Christians are bad because they're fighting for this like political thing, and also say they're like, called to lay down their lives and not resist evil.
So that's for me. You've articulated the very problem, which is I don't know which interpretation wins out, and how to produce the best interpretation. All of my Anglican friends and Protestant friends tell me, "Oh, you're such a Catholic. You pay so little attention to Scripture," and maybe it is because I'm afraid that if I forsook my usual approach, which is look at the great political theology that the Catholic Church has handed us down, and said instead, I'm just going to go off of the words that Christ uttered.
Yeah.
That I would then have to conclude that Catholicism is somehow fundamentally not
But
of
why
Christ.
would you do that?
Well, it's just because I'm thinking about it. I want to be honest to myself.
Because I mean, the way I read the Bible, like I use it for like meditation, and for prayer. I don't think it would be right for me to go in and try and form an exegesis, because I just don't have.
You're humble though. That's what the thing is. I'm not humble at all. I kind of go in and think, how do I produce?
But you're reading it through the fathers, and you're reading it through like commentaries. Like it. Would you just go and read the Bible and form a theology or your own exegetical interpretation?
I would definitely
alone?
I'd look at all the Orthodox readings,
Yeah.
and also at some of the heterodox ones.
Yeah.
And try and figure it out from there.
Which is the Catholic approach.
Yeah, it is the Catholic approach by and large.
I'm just too lazy to do that, so I don't,
But
I don't read the Bible in that way.
It's also hard not to that's kind of why I'm like so weird about reading it, because it's like it's hard not to have that voice in your head. Like, yes, you have people writing about it and you have your church fathers, but it's like there's a text there and you have a rational mind.
Yeah, I do
And
find
you should be
it
able
hard
to-
with the Old Testament for sure.
Yeah.
Like I remember
hard.
talking to Father Oliver at the Oratory about evolution and like how you can reconcile like the original sin with evolution. Like at what point did humans bring original sin on themselves? And he was like, you just have to believe the Bible. You have to believe in Adam and Eve as two individual people. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
It's such an assault
Wait,
on our
really?
rational. This is where I become
Is that
like
the
belligerent
Catholic?
and just
Yeah.
say, when priests say this stuff to me, I take this as an insult to my intelligence. I shouldn't. It's pride. And maybe an onlooker can tell me after this podcast, you are simply suffering with the sin of pride. Like all of those characters in C.S. Lewis's The Great Divorce who can't give up
I'll send it to
their,
Father Daniel.
like rational, but also their, pre-rational intuitions. But I can't, God is asking a lot from me to do that. To give up my...
I think God is asking that. I think like Father Oliver was like a mathematician, and I think that was always what I found difficult. Like when I started doing catechesis at the Oratory, it was like just this very logical, legalistic way of looking at it, which had like never made sense to me. And if I try and think like that, my faith is dead. Like I can't, because there are obviously so many. Like Moses didn't exist. Like Moses wasn't a person. Like you can't read the Old Testament like that.
There is just an element of irrationality. I think that's why the religious experience really helped, because it's like I remember trying to become Christian like years ago, because I was working at a church shop, and like my boss was a priest, and it was all very conducive to like you'll read the right book, you'll read like the right like apologetics, and you'll become a Christian. And I just couldn't get through it. And then it was the religious experience with like the breakthrough rationality that was so helpful, and so. But then again, the thing we spoke about, like years down the line, the experience has kind of faded, and then you need the rational basis for it. And I had the same thing in catechesis, where my priest at one point was like, well, you just have to believe it. You ask too many questions. And it was like...
A really good way of restoring your faith is by talking to a non-believer. Because you notice all their foibles and their errors.
That's what's happening to
exactly.
me right now.
I know you're like, no, it's true. But it is. I hate to say it, I think I'm a completely confused sort of oppositionist, and if I'm talking to a totally naive, unthinking believer, particularly a really vulgar evangelical one, I leave feeling total contempt.
Okay, you don't feel that to me right now.
No, because no, not at all. But then when I talk to sort of an absolutely unquestioning atheist who has never understood what it is to believe, who thinks it's ridiculous to even entertain the idea, then I leave that feeling a bit more, motivated to.
Yeah. So what was your logical proof for God when you believed in God?
It was I really did rely for a long time on the kind of basic cosmological argument in Aquinas that there has to be a first cause, the unmoved mover, and even to conceive of an unmoved mover is to think of something so beyond our understanding that it's kind of rational to assume this is something extremely powerful. I also for a long time found from there the teleological argument convincing, and you have to accept both in order to be a Thomist. That not only did something unbelievably powerful that you can call divine cause everything to come into motion, but that thing also sustains our motion, because there are clearly things in the world designed or that have some end to which they move. I then quickly found the teleological argument to be ridiculous for the same reason everyone else does, which is, well, there's so much corruption and unnecessary life and unnecessary motion, as it were, which is answered by the problem of evil. And then that goes back to the story of Adam and Eve. And I've never really enjoyed putting all of my logical faith in the story of Adam and Eve, because I do think to seek knowledge is a good rather than a bad, even if it means you're disobeying somebody who's instructed you not to. Like, I totally sympathize with.
Oh, we differ there. So what made that the unmoved mover less credible to you?
It hasn't become less credible. I think I can accept that there's a baffling mystery at the heart of creation that could speak to what we call a divine agent.
Yeah.
I can accept that.
But not necessarily the Christian God.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
That is the big issue. Like, that's what I struggled with.
I mean, to me, like the Christian theological system, like, makes so much sense to me. I think it's a perfect system. I think I came to Christianity first through Christmas and the Incarnation. Like, it took me a lot longer to understand the crucifixion, the resurrection. But it was the idea of an incarnate God, incarnate as a defenseless child, that made me convinced. It was the same thing I was talking about in the last episode with the criterion of embarrassment, really. But just in terms of like vibes, like it fits. It makes sense that salvation would happen that way through incarnation, and that wasn't really a rational process. It was like, this is a very natural fit for this world and for people who think about things in this way, who have this gap to bridge between humanity and the divine, and who have this natural worship of strength and authority and power, that it would be so improbable and also so obvious that God would be incarnate in this way. But that's not a rational proof. That's not a philosophical proof.
But it's a very good point. This is such an appealing story. It's, to take Gerard, he gets it right when he says that, alongside people like Balthazar, this is the gift that you're being given here is almost like an affront. It's almost offensive. And what does that do when you're given something that you feel you can't accept? I think it prompts a kind of self-admonishing humility and embarrassment that then motivates virtuous action. So this is, again, this is a cynical anthropological reading. I don't mean to undo what you've just said.
No, I think that's really interesting.
But it's an amazingly effective story. And
I think you need an anthropological explanation for the early Jesus movement and for why why the history of the church proceeded as it did and was successful.
And it was just like, it's like the strangest religion in the world. Like it's not a natural religion. Like if you go back to, like even like Aztecs and stuff, there's an element of like human sacrifice and like that you kind of understand, but the idea of like a sacrificial victim as a completely innocent and then like is God and
an eternal sacrifice, that means it vitiates the need for any further sacrifice.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Girardian interpretation, that is anthropological. That's an anthropological explanation for why Christianity worked, and I think he moved away from that in his later works, right? And he comes to actually accept it as true. But like the Peter Thiel school and the sort of early Girard stuff about like mimetic desire, it's making a sort of psychological anthropological case for Christianity.
But
which
it's
of
like
course
in
itself.
hindsight. Yeah.
Sorry.
But it's in hindsight, right? Like you could, at the time, it would have. I don't know. There's something to. I feel like you can. A lot of these explanations, it's like you see like where it developed, you see how it did this, how it did that, and then you rationalize the effects of it.
I think at the time though it was just prophecy fulfillment. So this was all foretold. This is why people even now say Judeo-Christian, because there can be no Christian story without basically Old Testament prophecy that was produced in the Judaic context.
Yeah, but they didn't expect it to proceed in that way.
No, exactly. But you
death.
couldn't have. Those who accepted it had to accept at least part of the older prophetic religion in order to understand what was happening was a fulfillment rather than just a completely new event. And then, of course, Judaism survived by denying that this was the true Redeemer. And in a way, I like to compare Judaism with like English football, which is that in the English football team in the World Cup cannot win because then football would have come home and we would not be able to sing however many 30 years of hurt, 60 years of hurt, never stop me dreaming. We'd have to say, oh, it has come home. And all of the sort of really rousing, like kind of bristling joy of expecting something but never thinking it will actually come would be banished. And so for the same reason that the Jewish Redeemer can never come, football can never come home.
Yeah. But doesn't that make it more convincing, like the behavior of the people who accepted Jesus as Lord after he'd been crucified? Like, I feel like that is one of the strongest cases for the resurrection.
Yeah.
That's not...
Because it wouldn't... Yeah, that I always found this also really convincing, actually.
Yeah.
Like, it's so improbable that these apostles would all believe this or make this up, having the reputations they did and the social influence they did, alongside all of the other disciples. Like, this is a people that, they really wanted a redeemer. It was a bad time for them. The Emperor Tiberius was a tyrant. But you don't expect
they wanted a
people
king
that were so completely embedded in their ancient temple religion to say we're actually going to consider ourselves redeemed now, and a lot of the old law can go out the window. So that's true. That's a really good argument.
And the prophetic case is for a king. It's for like a new king of Israel.
Yeah.
But I did find that a struggle of like when in the catechesis when they did all the arguments for the prophecy being fulfilled from the Old Testament were like, I was like, some of it is a bit tenuous, like, right? So then you're like, oh, is this like, again, the mental gymnastics that you're like, if you look at it cynically, it's like, if they were looking for a king, like a worldly king, that's not what happened. Like,
but then you get the combination of all the, like, you get the, sacrifice of the lamb and all of this, all these different threads. I mean, I'm not sure if they were combined before Jesus. I don't really know enough about that.
There were a couple of Christ-like figures, people doing very similar things to convince everyone that they were the king of the Jews. Did you ever wonder, like, what my question has always been, what did Christ actually know? Because the assumption in Catholicism is he knew it all the whole time. He's God, so he is omniscient.
Yeah.
So then what of these strange expressions of doubt or of distance from the Father?
I find that really difficult as
Christ
well.
on the cross. But I quite like on the cross when he's like, "Why have you forsaken me?"
Yeah.
It felt like that was his human, like that was the kind of separation.
Yeah,
that was
But
the human
that's
side
the
of him.
Orthodox reading.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's the answer.
Okay, yeah.
Christ's human nature suffered on the cross, but
Right.
his divine
My
nature
nature didn't.
didn't. But you do have those, like Gethsemane, I think, especially, where it's like, let this cup pass from me, but if it's your will,
Or the temptation in the desert,
yeah,
where ostensibly, I mean, Milton's reading, okay, Milton was an Arian. He basically
Yeah.
thought that Christ was not fully divine as well as fully human. And he writes Paradise Regained after Paradise Lost, which is all about the temptation in the desert. And he doesn't call Jesus the Christ ever. He calls him the Son,
yeah,
as distinct from God, who is God the Father.
yeah,
And in this text, the devil is characteristically very eloquent and loquacious, and all that the Son ever really says is, "It is written," and then he'll say, "Do not tempt the Lord your God,"
yeah,
and so on. But he is there to understand what he's doing and who he is, and basically it's heavily implied that he doesn't know. And I know I'm not talking about scripture here, but I always read this text and thought, this is always how I've imagined Jesus. Sort of completely, he acts in a manner which bespeaks, certainty of purpose, but not necessarily a certainty that he's like divine. Oh, there are some bits of this gospel that counteract that, of course, where I am the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody enters the kingdom of heaven except through me, which is Jordan Peterson's favorite bit to cite in defense of Christianity.
I think this is the weakest part if you're going on a scriptural basis, and this is why you have the big Christological debates in the early church councils, because it's not easy to make that argument for Christ as fully God and fully man.
There's a Christmas joke that could be opposite here.
Yeah,
I already tweeted it, but growing up is realizing it was actually your parents that punched Arius at the Council of Nicaea.
Wait, I don't get it.
Because Saint Nicholas, who was a Trinitarian, was said to punch Arius, who was not a Trinitarian, at Nicaea during the Christological controversy. But of course, Saint Nick is also Santo, and it's like, he's your parents. Anyway, that was not successful.
Can we take a pause for a second?
I need to catch up.
Of course.
Yeah. Back? Okay. How do you feel about like the Christian nationalism thing?
I thought you were going to ask a little question about the music or something.
Sorry,
man.
I just wanted to end a discussion on that.
Yes.
Because it's been in the news a bunch, like about reform, and they've just launched their little Christian wing of the party.
Did they? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I would have just had some Christians come on board.
No, like Anne Widdecombe and Sarah, what's her name? Sarah Pochin?
I haven't been reading the news.
And there's been a bunch of articles about like whether Britain is a Christian country or can be a Christian country, and whether that's a viable strategy for the right, or whether that's just like aping America and it's not going to work here. So yeah,
if there is a political movement which seeks to remind us of our Christian roots, I don't think it's going to be particularly American, because it will be a bit more like, Bijan Omrani's God is an Englishman, which is, this is fact, it's historical fact that a lot of what you take for granted is Christian, and that maybe it's good to appreciate that, rather than sort of, give these televangelists and these mega churches all your money because they're the real, they're the real like political
I found that a profoundly depressing book, because like in the chapters on law and things, where he was pointing at all the Christian assumptions built in but not really codified, and in the last 40 years or so, like they've just been replaced wholesale. So those institutions aren't really Christian anymore, like they were once, but you can't meaningfully say that they're Christian.
Perhaps what reform wants is to encourage the currently trending phenomenon of young people going back to the church, so that maybe when legislation is, let's say, rewritten, that some kind of an, old traditional pre-Blair, pre-Fukuyama mood can infuse the like legal and the political world. But I don't see reform as being completely unified on this matter. In fact, I don't think it's unified on anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a big gulf between like the libertarian, like pro-growth element and like the Danny Kruger communitarian, like post-liberalism, back to the land kind of vibes.
Just like in the Labour Party, where you have Blue Labour, which is overwhelmingly Christian socialists, contending with basically totally secular, fairly, I think, uninteresting, vaguely pro-tax types that don't really think about the moral implications of tax and what it's there for. So at the moment, there is, in every party, I think, there is a split between basically the Christians and the non-Christians.
Although I think Blue Labour is a pretty minor tendency. Like, I think it was influential in like 45, but it doesn't have any like actual power. Whereas I think in reform there's more to play for, and you could actually have actually existing post-liberalism.
A lot of the base, I think, won't be very interested in that.
Yeah.
That so many of members of Reform are single issue voters, and they basically don't want to be browbeaten about other issues like abortion and euthanasia.
Yeah.
So Reform will have to work through that and figure it out. I have no idea what they're going to do.
The growth aspect in particular is tricky because like the super pro-growth agenda would mean like building on the green belt and like having a slightly different attitude to listed buildings and all of these heritage
Do you think?
regulations.
Is it that bad? I reckon there's a middle way here. I think there's still a lot of growth to be done on the brown belt and a lot of reform just in terms of building regulation that means really precious heritage sites or green spaces aren't necessarily being threatened by the YIMBYs. Although the extreme YIMBYs are very, I think, unthinking about preservation. But I like to think growth, in general, what do they call them? The new urbanists are basically quite pragmatic and won't take a complete like Singaporean view of growth and development. But I might be wrong.
Yeah, I think just in terms of like the priorities that animate
I think it's too extreme in the same way that Christian nationalism is too extreme. Like building on the green belt is too extreme for British people. Like they just can't. I think that's also why I feel like Christian nationalism can't really happen here because the country's not an
seems
extreme.
Obviously stupid.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd love Christian.
As long as we have a constitutional monarchy, we're not going to be Christian nationalists, which sounds like a paradox, but it isn't. Like, basically, the monarchy exists now, and it's never going to change, as, a reminder of, well, in part a reminder of our very, very long-standing existence as a country. The monarch doesn't really get very involved in politics, never will. The monarch is Christian and the head of the church. And so therefore people associate the church with basically political inaction. And it's hard, it will be difficult as long as we have a constitutional monarchy like that to fully go full Christian nationalist.
That makes sense because like the only time we had Christian nationalism was the Civil War period. Yeah. Should we do some ins and outs, some predictions?
Sure. Yes. I haven't written because we did one.
We started doing this. We started this last episode, but I feel like the wigger is definitely in.
Oh yeah.
What are your predictions?
Mine are culinary. Hot honey is out.
Right.
It's awful and stupid.
Is that the chili, the spicy honey? Yeah.
For one thing, solid honey is way better than runny honey, and
Absolutely.
It's dumb runny honey that's filled with chili. It's as bad as chili chocolate. It's just stop. It's people wanting to take the sweet and savory thing to an extreme.
It's like the Dubaiification.
Yes, they're being really performative about sweet plus savory. Just give it up. It's done. So for me, Dubai chocolate obviously out.
Yeah.
Dubai itself is out.
Yes.
Except for the kinds of people who want a country to look like a shopping mall. which-
Yeah. The whole Soho House anthropology aesthetic is out.
Soho House?
It's like a club that like actors and creative people go to, but the design is very like Dubai vibes. It's like anthropology. It's like the
It sounds awful.
yeah.
It's like the Instagram chairs when they're like high stool chairs and then they're like velvet.
And everything's kind of
purple.
gold rimmed.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Or like
disgusting.
shell shaped.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
The shell
anthropology
pattern.
with an IE.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
out. That's awful. That's been going on for years.
It has, yeah. They're like changing pubs in central London. Like they redecorate them. We were going to get married in a pub that was like an old traditional pub.
Yeah.
And then like a few weeks before the wedding, we went to see it and they didn't tell us and they had changed it from like the old chandeliers, the spiral staircase, all that, into this Instagram like kind of Dubai, you know, the
Yeah.
stools and the velvet and all that. And we just came in and we're like, there's no way we're doing it here.
Did they
So-
have light up wings where people can stand and take a photo?
That was the neon sign. Yeah, it was the neon sign.
Well behaved women rarely make history. Okay, that has to go eventually.
Yeah. I'll be kind
Politically-
of sad if matcha is out because I really like matcha.
I like matcha too.
I've been like addicted to this Earl Grey matcha at Bank Street.
I found out that apparently matcha is filled with lead, but also what's the thing that they use to kill insects on, you know, in Agraria? Yeah, pesticides.
Really?
And someone apparently drank so much matcha in the States that she like went to the hospital with all of these strange elusive symptoms of something, and they said, you have pesticides in you.
Okay.
But she wasn't sourcing her matcha properly.
Yeah, I feel you have to get the ceremonial matcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Because the culinary grade one, deceptively, is actually the lowest grade.
Okay. Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
like culinary and then premium and then ceremonial.
That makes sense. I feel like as a name for something, I would want the ceremonial.
Yeah.
That seems like the highest
Yeah.
grade.
Ceremony is in.
Yeah. Is it?
Yeah, sort of, you know, ceremonies.
Just ceremonies.
Yeah. Just making things a bit more ritualistic than they used to be.
This is John's influence on you.
Yes. Creedal religion with ceremony
Yeah.
and, like, you know, reciting things at dinner parties and so on. Is that boring?
I'm kind of fed up of reciting things.
You've been going to different parties than me. What else is
What's-
out?
what's
Or
out?
In and out. Out. Let's be hateful. What's out? Sally Rooney.
Did some else. She's been out.
She's been out.
No, she had that
disgusting.
stupid, like, fake Ulysses book that came out earlier, and everyone was like, it's just like Ulysses.
What?
Yeah, it
She
was
got compared
so
to him.
bad.
Yeah.
What book?
I can't even remember the title.
I didn't even know she had a new book. Was that Intermezzo?
Yeah. That was
Oh.
this year, I think.
Yeah, I didn't read it. I was already
So-
over it.
She used to get compared to like Yeats, and then she was really angry.
Yeats.
'cause
Yay.
yeah, Yeats. 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 She got compared
Wiggers
to
are
Young,
in.
like, young Yates.
Yeat is really good, actually.
It's confusing because it's Keats, but Yeats.
Yeah. If
so
you listen to
true.
the Smiths more, you'd know this.
If I read.
Yates is in
Sure.
that sort of esotericism, Swedenborg.
Magic.
Yeah,
Golden Dawn.
I've been more into magic recently.
Yes,
Feel
I
ki-
noticed.
Feel kind of bad about that.
Your podcast with Bovril was really cool. I learned a lot about magic.
Well,
on that.
Bovril is a
very
legit
into magic.
wizard, so
Yeah.
yeah. I thought, what were we doing the other day where I was like, maybe we shouldn't be friends with Bovril.
Because of the match.
Does he
Yeah,
do
when-
spells?
Yeah, so he's done some spells. I think if he tells me what they are, they don't work anymore.
That's so feminine.
But he genuinely attributes his recent planning permission successes to helping me out when I was in Cuba.
Well, so that's more karmic than anything, I think.
I think he's got some sort of sigil going.
Okay.
It's like chaos magic. I don't know.
I'm
But
against
he
it.
got me these tarot cards for Christmas, which were really sweet, and there's like an inscription inside, which is very lovely.
Does this mean 2014 millennial female witches are back in?
Well, we did say millennials in general.
You do love, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you love millennials. I like Gen Z, but you like millennials.
Tavi Jefferson, Rookie Mag, Flower Crown,
Zines?
There are a
we
lot
doing
of
zines?
Latitude
Zines.
Festival.
Yes, a lot of youngsters are really romanticizing the millennial adolescence they never
Yeah.
had. You know,
It
kind
was
of.
pretty great, actually. It was a good time to be.
I thought it was horrific.
You're younger than me.
Well, I'm
You're a
20, I'm
Zoomer.
26. I'm an elder Zoomer.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's Zoom, yeah.
But you weren't of the 2012 era.
Well, I turned 13 and I was I was a bit sort of, in terms of my adolescence, I think I was a little bit precocious in that I had, a lot of the angst of a later
Yeah.
teen in about 2012, 2011.
Okay. So you had like Lana Del Rey.
Yeah,
first-
totally.
okay,
Lana Del
cool.
Rey, Tumblr. My parents had no idea what was on my computer,
Yeah, although by then the Pro Anna era had already ended.
Yes. But, well, has it ever
It's-
ended?
I was going to say, that's always been
Yes,
around.
when they sold it to Yahoo, and then they put in PG-13 restrictions.
Yes.
Because before then it was like the Wild West. It was like libertarian.
Oh.
Yeah,
wow.
but then you just had a warning at the top. You type in Pro Anna, and there was a warning.
Not
Oh, no, and
even
then
before then.
they did
yeah.
ban the tag eventually,
Yeah.
so you had to be like anti
Yeah.
annals.
But before then it was like Anna buddies and like actively encouraging each other and like, doing like challenges on the dashboard and stuff.
Well, it does seem that with Ozempic, thinness is back in.
Yeah.
And will be.
We spoke of this.
Podcast spoke of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is really annoying because it's hard to get that thin without being on peptides.
Mm.
That
sickly look.
Yeah.
That people love.
Underweight look. I'll get there eventually. I'm going to get back there.
No. Just stepping in.
What were we talking about before?
Oh, witches and magic.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I was gonna, yeah. Okay. Yeah, witches. I did a tarot card reading a few months ago, about whether to go back to the PhD. And I went to Treadwell's, the bookshop in, it's like by UCL, and I got all like the big cards. Like I got, like for going back, it was the Devil and the Five of Cups, and then for not going back, it was the High Priestess and the Page of Cups.
Pretty explicit.
And then there was another reading where the two cards on the side were like Death and the Fool. I just got like all the major arcana, and it was very stressful, and it just felt like improbable that I would get all the big cards. And then the woman was kind of like freaked out, and she was like, "This doesn't usually happen." I was like, "Okay, yeah, maybe this is
That's what they all
like
say.
They would say that. I was joking. I was like, maybe I was the fool on the card. It's okay.
But also because like
comic
I've
fool.
never had any inclination to do that before. But like I was telling you earlier about my sort of distrust for providence and discernment, and sort of I was trying to figure out the right course, but I didn't really trust any of my usual ways of arriving at a decision, and it just felt like I just felt like quite drawn to it, and then the reading was like kind of weirdly significant, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the only tarot experience I have was my mum before we moved to this country. She did a tarot thing, and the tarot lady was like, "You have to move as soon as possible to this country. This is like, you have to do this." And she took it to mean this like deep magical thing, and I was like, surely rationally you would understand if you're living in a post-Soviet shithole. You would
These
have
things
to-
can be figured out empirically.
Yeah, like I would say that if I was just like a friend. I'd be like, get out of it.
Yeah. I don't know whether I should like stop engaging with that stuff. 'Cause
Maybe.
Obviously the church says it's wrong.
I was gonna say, is it illegal? Is it illegal?
Hey, ooh, is this illegal?
Pink Panther was very in.
She is. Yeah, she's done really well.
Again, harking back to early millennial, this is really mid-noughties aesthetics.
Yeah.
I like that style of clothing. I like wearing a t-shirt over a long-sleeved turtleneck.
You know, Mark Fisher wrote that. You know about Burial. You know Burial, the artist. He like did this album that was he was like an electronic artist, but he did he used to take like R&B and like garage music from the 90s, and then he did this like sort of hauntology like thing. Yeah, it was just but it's like a very nostalgic album, and I feel like now things are actually moving forward. Like there's a bit less sampling of like noughties, 90s R&B, and it's kind of actually going forward, which is nice.
It might be worse off for it, but you're right. In general, there's less of that. By the way, shout out to Hauntology's biggest hater at P Yerk.
Oh, does he hate?
Great podcast. Yeah, he absolutely hates it. He's got some really good polemics against it.
Oh, interesting.
What, the Mark Fisher book?
Or just the Mark Fisher book, but in general the movement.
Okay.
Because there is, particularly in kind of obscure art criticism, which is his domain, there's a lot of hauntology.
Right.
And it's an excuse to come up with nothing particularly clear and argumentatively sound, I think, about a given piece of art.
Yeah,
so
Mark
hauntology
Fisher
can
out.
be out. Mark Fisher out. He's had a good run.
Nick Land out.
Yeah. Well, you did a great exposition. That was very clear. I think I, for the first time, began to understand Nick Land because of that.
Thank you. Well, it was a literature review. It wasn't anything like original.
But those are difficult to do. I think properly distilling something quite as schizophrenic as that body of work in a way that is readable for the layperson is a very difficult thing to do. It's why book reviews are hard.
I got a lot of mockery for that.
Really?
Yeah. But then I do for
That was great.
everything I do.
She's
so.
given me his book, and then like immediately after you gave it to me, you were like, "Don't read it." Just now, I just have it.
Well, this is
Transhumanism out, fully out,
Yeah.
go away. You know, we are in line with our natures. We're Lucretian and Epicurean.
Maybe disagree. I think the like medical side will be more in. I think like private like medical testing and like some kinds of biohacking for health reasons.
So this is descriptive versus prescriptive, because you're right in that descriptively it will be more in, but I want to lay down the law and say that morally it should be out. Because
Okay,
I mean,
but
we're
that's
so
not the purpose of an in and
Oh
out.
shit! I've done it completely wrong.
No, I prefer this.
I've just been saying what I want to be in and out.
Obviously, if you are influential enough, you can manifest your will.
Yeah,
So you can use this as a platform for that.
yeah.
But
I'm spurred on by this.
this is really about harnessing your prophetic gifts.
Okay. I'm going to change
and analytic
tack.
skills.
Okay, so then objectively, transhumanism, particularly anti-aging, is going to be in. But I think the transhumanism that manifests in like gender surgery is going to wane.
Yeah, I think that has waned.
That's going to keep waning.
Yeah.
I'm like upset that trans racialism never popped off.
I think that's in.
MJ.
I think that's in now because of people becoming more Chinese.
People are getting a Chinese.
Oh.
Yeah.
China is in.
Yeah.
It's done a really good job this year of being very diplomatic with the kind of Trumpian regime. It's also now got its big lithographic machine where it can produce, you know, basically the what do you call them? This is where I become a female. Like Sims and chips that are used for AI and phones, which the Dutch have been the leading exporter of, and now the Chinese have figured out how to do it efficiently. I mean, it might take another few years, but
I thought we were moving away from chips anyway.
No, chips are so in.
They're so
Chips are in.
I thought Google had figured out a way of doing it without the NVIDIA chips.
Wow. There has to be a chip though. There has to be.
Look, I don't know what
chip.
I'm talking about. I don't know anything about this.
I'm just saying that in. In for 26.
I think NVIDIA's like lost its monopoly or something, and you don't necessarily need that anymore. So
like a special
the
type
stocks
of
are going
chip.
to go down.
Right.
Yeah.
Chips are going to become like democratic. A communitarian
maybe
chip.
Google's making their own chips or something.
Right.
oh, so they're not buying
Because there
them.
has to be a
I'm
chip.
going to stop. I shouldn't be talking about this. This is not an economics tech podcast.
No, you can just intuit there has to be a chip. Like
It'd be quite funny if the Chinese have gone to all this effort to come up with a real lithographic machine and then chips it out.
But Chinese AI is really interesting because they are like open source. So they've had way higher like uptake. Like they have way more actual use across like all of Central Asia, Africa, because like the technology is open source and anyone can just take it and run with it. So they're kind of behind in terms of like quality of the AI, but they might just win because they've given people like freedom to go and develop.
They really have. Have you seen the AI dog videos? Have you
dog
seen the
videos?
dog videos
No.
where there's a video of a dog and he's like normal, but then he does this. He's like that.
I really hate
He
it when you send me the stuff.
It's all I send.
I wish you would
Dogs
stop
with
sending
opposable
it to
thumbs.
me.
They look demonic. Some of them look so evil. But they're in and that's the thing, like you give the people what they want, which is a way to do AI on a dog.
See, this is the thing. Like, I think AI is not going to be as world altering as we think, because ultimately the way we're constrained by our own ridiculous, let's say poisoned or internet rotted incentives. So we use it for like nonsense, and the real stuff, the labor market isn't going to be, I think, dramatically changed in the end by AI. I'm much more of a skeptic than basically everyone on this, and I'm probably wrong.
I think it will be.
There's going to be also,
I
it's going
think you're right about the
to
brain rot.
plateau, and it will plateau soon, I think, in terms of its
I think
rate
it
of
will,
improvement. And that's going to then cause a bit of the bubble to burst, and there will be a period of AI skepticism and then renewed optimism, and it's just going to be boring, like every economy.
I do think LLMs are like kind of limited, and you will eventually like cap out on what you can do with an LLM.
And pedagogically, we're going to return to
I hope
Vivas
so.
and handwriting.
Have they gone back to handwritten exams?
No,
yet?
like
It
the
just
universities
makes no
are
sense.
they're so backwards on this. Like they think they're being forwards. Oh, we have to adapt to the times. No, the answer to all of your worries, which is that everyone's cheating, is to go back to the mode of examination which we had forever until 5 minutes ago, which is handwriting.
It's so bizarre. Like I did all my exams handwritten.
Same.
There was no question of that being exclusionary or like it. I don't understand how they flipped so quickly.
Pressure from students as well as administrative staff who want there to be less processing of documents and exams. It's all none of this is really, and then there are a few ideologues in academia who just think that because it's new it's good. But I think this is going to the illusions are going to be shattered quite soon on this, and we're going to realize the only way is literally going back about 10 years, if that. It's not going to be hard.
Yeah.
I didn't know they didn't have handwritten. Like,
yeah, everything is typed. Most courses now, most degrees now are made up of coursework submissions, which are done at home over an extended period of time.
I get that, yeah, but
like exams are all, typed up. For a long time, exams were both open book and also produced on your computer. And now some exams are not open book, but you still use a word processor. It's just like it's pointless.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they should go back to giving people thirds as well and like failing people.
Fail people.
Are they not failing people?
No.
No.
But there's massive grade inflation recently.
Nobody at Oxford gets a third, like, or even a 2-2. Everyone gets, like, half people get a first, half get a 2-1.
You know, the B.Phil in philosophy was famously a respected degree because it was so difficult, and half of the people, roughly half, would fail. This is a 2-year master's degree in philosophy, legendary degree. I want to say that basically nobody fails now, and that maybe only 10% get below a 2-1 or a merit, as they call it, which the university is going to wake up to the fact that when you debase the coinage, you're just devaluing these degrees. They're going to lose their status.
But I think that probably will continue for a while because it is one of our few profitable exports. And especially as China grows and comes to dominate the economy more, it's like the one thing that the Chinese do respect is the British education system.
Yeah. They don't respect it enough not to cheat, but they respect it enough to pay universities here a lot of money, and that's what the universities want. Yeah.
I mean, I would be quite happy if, like, the post-92 universities disappeared. And that's one of the views I've kind of changed over the years because I used to think it was good that everyone had access to that kind of thing. But it is just oversaturated. Like, there's too much choice. It should be like, if you want to go and study history, you go to, like, the university where you study history, or like you should be able to move around the country and go to the main institution to study it. There's no reason for all these regional universities to offer as many degrees as they do.
I think they are dying. I have a friend who works in the university system, and apparently is loads of courses are like being dropped. Like, loads of people.
That's been happening for years.
And then like loads of the universities are in debt. Like it's like 60% of universities are in debt, and they are just going to shut down. And it's like all the polytechnics, like ex-polytechnics.
It would suck if then the top universities also just become like degree mills, which they kind of are already.
They have done, they already are.
And they have to, right? Because the international students pay for. They're not going to pay to fail.
Yeah, and increasingly they do stuff remote. Like they take off student caps, so you can just have like max out on grad students.
I don't understand how a lot of these top universities are in debt, because they're making so much money off of this new model of packing every faculty with very rich international students.
Yeah,
but they're at the same time, and then they're desperately saving money by, for instance, in Oxford and Cambridge, no longer having interviews for the undergraduate degrees take place in person, which saves a great deal of money. But they're all, every year, I see it. I'm a member of congregation, I see anxiety about how strapped for cash we are. The colleges themselves are not. A lot of the colleges have amazing
Isn't it like science
amounts of wealth.
spending, like equipment?
Partly that, but the funding for science, there is a lot of external funding for science.
Yeah.
Much less for the humanities. But yeah, in general, these universities are not being run very well. The finances are a total sham. Brown University, which has been in the news, is in extraordinary amounts of debt, and yet has been charging, I don't even know, I don't want to spread misinformation, but they did recently hike their undergraduate fees considerably, but each year their finances get worse, and it is partly because they have one administrator for every 2 students or something. So, but basically bureaucratic bloat needs to be out, but it's still in, and it's going to perpetuate itself for as long as possible.
Well, I heard international students are dropping as well in the UK because of the new laws that are in, so they're actually losing income from international students because they've put those things in like you can't bring your family over, and then you don't have security for 2 years after graduation.
Bringing your whole family over to do like a master's
sociology at Roehampton.
Yeah. Okay, what are your other outs? Can
we just for once and for all, again, this is me like deciding what I want to be at. High-waisted jeans, please just stop. I can't, because they're coming back in, and I've noticed that they're way far. They're beautiful.
That's low rise, right?
Yeah. We're both wearing
ultra low.
I've got one
ultra low.
These Urban Outfitters ones, which I love.
Yeah, it's really hard to find low rise ones. Though.
They're all they have vanished from the shops.
I think a smaller size of these because this was 24, and then it's just too big for me. So I was trying to get a 23, but they were sold out already.
I think the high waist thing is like partially it's like it's meant to like accentuate your bum, so there's that, but also it's meant to be for like fat people to like hide the belly, but it doesn't actually do that because it's too high up, so then the belly actually juts out from the waist, so it's actually should have medium rise.
Well, like we said, anorexia's in, so
so that'll solve that problem. We'll cure that.
In terms of alcohol and drinking and drugs and sobriety, what do we think? Sorry, no, because not a personal question.
No, I was at a party last night, and it was like the fanciest house I've ever been in, and they had like a champagne bar with waiters, and they were doing like champagne cocktails, and then I got offered Coke within like 10 minutes of being there, and I just had to go home. I was like... I called someone on the bus to like talk it through because I was like I felt like I was scuppering my like bonding opportunities. There's a type of bonding you get, and then the person on the phone was like, "That's bullshit. You're just being an idiot." But yeah, I do wish I could. I think Coke is actually in, and I could say it's out, but that would be cope.
It's such a horrible drug.
It is. I don't like it. I think it's good for shy people. We've said about this before, but I think shy people tend towards it because they can't talk without
get them on Elvans then. Find the middle ground, the golden mean.
I mean, I was doing Coke on Elvans, so.
But yeah, I got offered like ecstasy yesterday, and I was like, I haven't heard that name in years.
Really?
But it's not.
It always amazes me just how like that everyone does coke, and like people in their like 40s as well who are like successful,
Really?
otherwise sedate people, and then you go to a party and it's like everyone's on coke, and it's like 8 o'clock or something. Like
We're having dinner.
yeah, you go to like an event on at 7 and there's people doing coke, and
That's horrid because one of the main downsides of it is it kills the appetite, so you can't enjoy the lovely
You can't
food.
even have your cheese boards.
yeah,
You can't
well, not
even-
with dinner, to be fair.
Sure,
but
after dinner
Yeah.
drinks, yeah.
Wow.
But I feel like drinking and drugs are never. I know there's like all that stuff about Zoomers not drinking or drugging, but I feel like it's never out. Like
I think-
historically, it's always been in.
I think especially when you have periods of like high energy, which I think you have now, it comes with drugs.
Possibly.
You
Do
need
you
to
mean
sustain
on
it.
the right wing as well?
Yeah, partly. Also the UK rap scene. the
Which you
wigger,
may have
the
heard
wigger-
about, Jane.
And like like London nightlife is really big right now. It's kind of having a revival. There's like people like traveling to London to like party.
Wow.
Um,
That's a change because, of course, after COVID,
yeah.
nightlife was terrible here for a while.
Well, it's all these like little pop-up clubs and like no phones venues.
Wow.
Um,
I'm so ignorant of all this, but I'm glad to hear. I'm glad to hear there's
I
a
think there's
nightlife
exciting stuff
revival.
happening in the music scene, and
Yeah.
It's good to see. Like, I wonder what the next big rap drug will be because, like, you had Xans and you had lean,
I think it's coke.
but coke is like quite a white. Like, it's quite
What
a
about crack.
in
Heroin?
Crack,
in
okay,
twins.
Remember
is
when
in.
all of the aristocrats and who sent their daughters to Oxford were all on heroin, and there were these very high-profile heroin deaths in the 80s
The
in
Christchurch
Oxford?
one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe heroin is going to come.
Heroin,
There's
I
a-
would imagine, is very good.
It's obviously low status now, but maybe heroin's going to become high status.
Yeah, there was a famous medievalist who was like involved in that, who like woke up next to this dead girl, and it was in all the press and everything. But yeah, his career was fine afterwards.
Did you see this? Like, there was this like doctor guy in America who is a heroin user, and he like did this whole documentary about being like, you can be a really functional heroin user. Like, he had like a job and he had a family and whatever, and he was like, you can use heroin in a safe way. It's like a
I feel like heroin's been unfairly demonized.
Should have watched the documentary. it's like the most cognitively dissonant man being like, yeah, this is fine. And he's
you
just
can't-
shooting up heroin.
It can't really have a comeback though because of like Fent and
That's true. All the opioids.
yeah.
I feel like opiates are out though. Like they've been
Yeah.
they've done. So I wonder what the next. I don't know.
2CB.
2CB.
That's-
2CB is
I've
quite
never
nice.
done
That's
2CB.
quite a
in.
nice one.
It's popular because there aren't that many downsides.
Okay.
It's a quite psychedelic version of ecstasy, I think.
Yeah. Oh, we were talking about doing psychedelics,
Yeah,
which I've never done.
it is a bit of a demon, but then I do think demons are in for 26 anyway. So maybe
Go
that's
on.
a way.
Maybe it's just like you work with the
Demons?
demons. You know, it's what you do with the demons.
you have to harness your demons.
Yeah, which you can totally do.
Well, you know, because like Tucker and Candace, like all these like guys that go off the rails and they start talking about demons, and I feel like
Yeah.
I know, right? But I feel like it's in the consciousness because now like everyone's against the demons. But I feel like in the new year, maybe first quarter after the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, well, this ties in with what we're saying about magic, and you know, magic does involve an invocation of something.
Of
So,
demons, yeah. And I think drugs
Yeah.
are a way to demons. Like I think there's something demonic.
do you think psychedelics involve any kind of like entities?
No, I'm a realist and a physicalist when it comes to psychs. Partly because I think everyone behaves the same on psychs. They're very predictable. Everyone thinks that you're going to have a completely unique insight, that you're going to confront demons that are uniquely yours. And then you watch people on psychs and they are just acting the way that you predict they will act.
I feel like
basically
just change people
being
afterwards. Though.
so people who abuse them massively will potentially alter their brain chemistry. Again, it's
and
all
they get
chemical
like actual brain damage.
and damage themselves in a way that similarly weed can drive you into psychosis. But I really think that that's not spiritual warfare at all. I think that that's a form of assault on your brain chemistry that can sometimes damage you. I mean, I don't think all psychedelics are dangerous at all. But
I think I'm more woo than you on this.
yeah, I'm not. I have to say, I'm
just
not
not woo
woo
at
at
all.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is what I meant by you being a bit more masculine. I
Masculine.
think, yeah.
That's a really good question. Like, is woo really feminine or not?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah?
Women
Yeah.
are always more woo.
Right. They are more religious. That's true.
And astrology and...
It's just the unknown. Like, I think women are better with the unknown.
But I think-
Like,
But then you have the
it's-
archetype of like the esoteric white boy, like Yeats, that is
That's true, yeah.
uniquely male, but driven perhaps by a lust for power, as Yeats was when he headed the Golden Dawn.
And aren't they usually like bi?
Was Yeats bi, or was this?
I felt like he was, but
I
could
honestly,
be
you
making,
may be right.
I could be making that.
I
But I feel
can't
like all the
remember.
guys who are into magic are like William Burroughs, Crowley. They're all
Yeah.
like bi. Maybe it just goes with like the sexual libertine territory, but they're not like macho.
high in openness and experimentalism.
Yeah,
and
Bovril.
is Bovril bi?
No, I don't think so.
I haven't met him.
we
but
should go
hang
out.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He sends his love, by the way.
He doesn't know me, but that's very kind.
He likes your account.
Oh, which
Yeah.
one?
The-
Don't name it.
The account that shall not be named.
Drogba Conley.
So
Okay.
what
else? What else is in and out?
are you very anti coke and weed,
I'm anti coke and weed. Yeah,
but pro
but
psychedelics?
pro psychedelics.
Okay.
That is very male. That's like a very
You think?
psychedelic. There's a certain type of guy that's a psychedelic boy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Did you ever go to the Psychedelic Society?
Yes, once or twice as an undergrad.
Okay.
There was a society.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's full of like poly-effective altruists. It's a bad place.
It was awful. Oh, okay. Effective altruism has been out for
Very
so
out,
long
yeah,
and
it's
is
been
now completely dead in the water.
It's
thank
out.
God.
I think Anglofuturism out.
Really, there's so much work yet to be done.
I'm pro.
There's a lot to be done, but you know, you can't control the whims of fate.
Shall I ask my last question? I had a
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
question. Santa. You know Santa.
Mhm.
What age did you stop believing in Santa?
Oh, I remember the very moment.
Do you-
I was in Richmond Park with my mum, and I had at the time a very young brother who'd been born only months before, and then a brother about the age of 4. And I must have been 7, nearly 8. And I remember my mother was talking about Santa with the boys. And at the time, I suppose I hadn't thought about it, but I did believe, partly because I was religious and I sort of thought miracles were included, especially Trinitarian saints, were real and that they would be intervening in our lives. And then as we walked over the stepping stones, as my mum said to the boys, you know, you've got to be good for Santa, she turned to me and she winked. And in that wink, in that gesture, and remember, I was 7, it was marginal.
It's marginal.
I was crestfallen because it was, I think perhaps I'd suspected but didn't want it to be confirmed that this was all a pious fiction. And my life, there have been moments since then that have reminded me very much of that first disillusionment. What about you guys?
It's very like Narnia. It's like a very C.S. Lewis kind of
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah, it really was. It really, really was. In that
With the
setting
stepping
as well, in that
stones, yeah.
enchanted setting.
Wow.
Oh my god.
You expect like a white heart to come out of the
I
woods.
know.
That's very sad.
So moving.
I mean, it's nice of your mum to trust you like that, but I feel like as a 7-year-old, she should have let you have some time.
I was flattered by her,
Mm.
you know, the implicit assumption that I was too old and clever to believe in it.
Yeah.
And I never spoke about it again.
You never told your brothers?
No.
Angry?
I let them figure it out.
I don't remember.
I had a Christmas, we used to have this thing where my brother, at Christmas Eve, we used to open up presents then, he would go to the door, and he would be like, Santa's at the door. He would like do this, he would like knock like that. He was like, oh, Santa's at the door, and then he would go, and then he would speak to Santa, and he'd be like, rah, 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 rah. And that's how he used to get argued.
Love that.
And then over the years, I was like, why am I not seeing Santa? And then I was like, his voice is still quite similar to my brother's voice. And then my rational, you know, Christopher Hitchens mind. I was like,
Your new atheist instincts kicked
I
in.
was like, it's fake, it's fake. So it was like a gradual process where every year I was like, and then eventually I was like, oh, it's my brother.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But just as it's good to participate in religion even after losing faith, you know, my parents still take a bite out of a carrot and put it in our, because we still get stockings,
Nice.
in our stocking at the very bottom to show that Rudolph was there.
That's so lovely.
And that's a nice relic of the past.
Oh.
Did you have a Santa?
Yeah, I don't remember when I stopped doing the Santa thing. Probably about the same age, I think. So went to Canada when I was 8, 9, and then when I came back, there was no Santa.
Oh.
No, but I was a very rationalist child because my mum believed very sincerely in fairies and trolls and that sort of thing, and that irritated me from a young age because I felt like she was mocking my intelligence.
Wow. We went in opposite directions.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember we went to Canada for my birthday, and we went to Times Square and got like Barbie stuff, Brat stuff from the Bratz place.
Brats.
Yeah.
I love Brats.
And I think, I definitely knew that it wasn't Santa that Christmas because I was trying to emotionally manipulate my mum into getting me more Brat stuff. Yeah,
The original Instagram face.
They were, they were like proto
Kardashians.
Instagram. Yeah.
I love
A bit
those
too
guys.
sexy. They were too sexy.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I brought home a hedgehog one day and I put it in my Bratz pad in the swimming pool.
A hedgehog.
I thought
real
it needed
one?
to hydrate.
You're a
'cause
cat.
It was on the street and it wasn't moving.
You're
so
bringing vermin into the home.
I was trying to bring it back to life in the Bratz.
Just a bunch of dolls and then a hedgehog. Knocking them over.
Yeah. Did you have any Christmas traditions?
There's a lot of like Eastern European traditions. Like you meant
the
to
bath carp.
the car.
The carp. I'm not buying a carp. That was a joke. I'm not fucking buying a
I can't
carp.
imagine a worse thing to eat on Christmas than carp.
It's not the main dish. It's like
Okay.
it's like the only hot bit.
Okay.
So you just make the fish and then you have it. But carp is quite nice. It's like very fatty. It's quite a nice
Is it like
winter.
trout?
I've never had
Similar
carp.
to trout?
Similar. It's like a white. It's like white
Yeah.
and very, very fatty. I'm not gonna get a fucking carp. It's ridiculous.
I think you should get a carp.
Let's get
I
a
want to.
carp.
How big a carp?
I want to share
They're
in
huge. They're
your
like-
culture. I want to respect your culture.
We never did that culture. My mum only got like a dead carp for Christmas.
Did you have? So I know that Polish friends of mine, not saying you're Polish,
Could be.
do focus on the Epiphany and give gifts on the 6th of January. Did you ever do that?
That's interesting. That's a bit.
I thought that was because that was Orthodox Christmas.
It's also, but so partly it is Orthodox, but I know that in certain Eastern European countries where there is a Catholic culture, that Epiphany just it has a much more significant role in Christmas than it does in the West.
We do stay like our decorations. Like we used to put them up on Christmas Eve. Like so, it's always very weird in December where it's like it's from 1st of December, and then they always stay up till Epiphany basically. And it's very weird like in England where it like goes down like 1st of January. It's like. It's
Or
done.
even before.
We're over. Yeah.
I thought Epiphany was the traditional time to take it down.
It is, but I think in the Americanized culture in which we live, Christmas is basically all of December rather than Advent, and then the 12 days of Christmas get forgotten. This is my Chesterton polemic.
Yeah,
But
no, you're so right. Go
It's
off, Queen.
really sad because January is not meant to be a time of fasting and abstinence, but everyone does dry January and so on. When really,
because it's the octave of Christmas.
December is the abstinent month leading up to Christmas, and then the jollity continues even for the most traditional ones until Candlemas, which is on the 2nd of February.
Right.
And I like making January fun because otherwise it is miserable,
It is so miserable.
and you have Lent coming up, you know.
Yeah. Well, that's why I hate fasting and Lent because it's just when I've got through winter and I'm just like getting my mojo back.
Oh, it's winter solstice today.
Is it today? The 21st?
Yeah.
The first day of winter,
So it's the-
midwinter.
Yeah.
according to the Gregorian calendar, which is the correct one.
But it's only going to go up from here.
Okay.
We're going to have a
We made
Longer
it.
days, we
Yeah.
made it. It's so it's such a relief. The
Yeah.
shortening days of autumn are so dire.
I've been waking up at like 3 lately as well, so it's just dark all the time.
Yeah, I've been waking up really late recently.
Just because I'm ill and I've like forgotten days, and they all merge into one. And then watching like stupid TV shows.
Best season?
Summer.
Spring.
Summer.
Summer's great. I like spring the most because the days are so obviously lengthening that there's a sense of hope. You haven't yet reached the equinox.
Yeah, I get these weird episodes in spring where like I'm coming out of the winter depression, and then I get kind of like mixed episodes, and it's like really, really bad. It's like the worst time in my life ever. But I think I've missed it this year because I haven't got depressed.
Yeah, I was saying on the last episode, in for 26 is Easter because of a spring awakening.
Yeah,
like, I think like we're gonna have Easter holidays be an actual event where it's like this is spring. This is the renewal, the rebirth. It's a better. I think it's a better holiday than Christmas, to be honest. But
I love Christmas.
I do love Christmas. I think
I need to sing some hymns. I haven't had a carol service yet.
Yeah, we should go.
I miss carols.
We'll go to one.
Yeah. Should we wrap up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Happy Christmas.
Happy
By the way,
Christmas.
the date of Christmas has nothing to do with Saturnalia. Read Carl Philip Notaft's article defending Julius Africanus's calculation of Christmas as being 9 months after his conception, and you'll realize it's not a pagan thing that Christ was born on the 25th.
Don't listen to English Heritage.
Do they say otherwise?
They did the typical annual Saturnalia tweet.
It's been debunked by Philip, the aforementioned.
Debunked.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Happy Christmas.
Live on a racket and more door. I live like the king with my sword drawn. It's that money king in the full. I'm stepping this cannon. I'm looking at all this abandoned. Father, I'm just gonna make the excursion. So I'm out of this shit. I can get it back from money to sitting on burden. I switched to a different page. I get to the chase. Now I'm going to sage. All over the neck of my pain. I'm a warlord. T-Rose over the floorboards. Bombing the whip in the store door. Speed to the from Mordor. I'm coming in on the scoreboard. Full of a fucking short drawn. I'm